Warning. This show contains content for mature audiences only. It has been classified as suitable for over 18s. It's the FM104 Phone Show. It's controversial. It's different radio for 2018.
It is the Phone Show for Thursday night. Numbers, as always, 53104 for 20 cents. You can give us a buzz on 6797F104. Coming up in the show, we didn't get around to it last night, but it's still in the public domain. We're going to be talking about Leo's comments and the fact that he's demanding all doctors and nurses to be working over the Christmas, and they're not going to get much time off at all. Apparently as well, the first 2 weeks of January are off limits. So tonight we'll be asking, should staff have the right to time off over Christmas, especially considering the workload that nurses and doctors have to put up with? Or maybe think Leo is right, that they need to sacrifice their Christmas this year to deal with the huge demand, and maybe that's just part of the gig, that if you're going to be doing the job of a nurse or a doctor, you have to expect to do on social hours. Also coming up in the show, a new survey by the ERSI on growing up in Ireland has revealed that 23% of 9-year-olds have a social media profile. It also revealed that parents reported having rules to manage their 9-year-old screen time, including rules about content, the time spent on devices, and yada yada. Is this the laziest excuse you've ever heard for parents? Because a lot of people online were like, well, look, they're going to get their hands on tablets and smartphones anyway, so what can you do about it? Is that just lazy parenting? Like, who pays for the Wi-Fi? Who pays for the smartphone? Is that a valid excuse? Or maybe you do think that it is a sign of the times that we live in, and that it's just simply hard to prevent it. Get us on WhatsApp as well. 087 6797 F104. Let's do it.
The FM104 Phone Show with Keith Ward and Cormac Moore.
It's controversial. It's different radio for 2018.
FM104.
Mr. Cormac Moore isn't here, but the delightful Tara Murray certainly is.
Oh, I'm delightful now.
Have we made up after
I don't know.
After
have
yesterday?
We made up? You've yet to apologise for the scrutiny of my Twitter profile yesterday.
If you missed it, I was bitching about Tara's Twitter tweet yesterday, just about an innocuous enough tweet. I kind of thought Tara was making out that she was nearly involved in this Run in the Dark. Was it Run in the Dark?
Yes.
Last night, but she wasn't. She was DJing at it. But you know, it was one of those things where you were like, I'm sure she's listening to this, but she's probably in her car driving back from the event, and out of nowhere she appears at the studio door in the middle of me bitching about her. So listen,
yeah,
I don't apologise for bitching about you. I just apologise for bitching about you when you're in the building.
Okay.
In future, I'll make sure you're not here.
So it's just if I'm not here.
Yeah.
You're like, I was literally walking down the corridor and all I cares, that Tara Murray one in her stupid Twitter. I was like, excuse me. So I literally just popped my head in the window. And
I was like,
hand up in the air, like, what, do you want to go on?
I did one of those faces of, oh.
Yeah, you actually, yeah.
Like I'm stung. You know,
like
when
your ma appears around the corner with a wooden spoon.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God.
If you've ever been caught talking about someone behind their back, or do you know what? I remember my mate sent a text message. He was texting a girl back when we were teenagers, and he was texting her, trying to make his move, whatever. And then he texts his other mate to say, "Yeah, I think I'm in there.
Oh, no.
We're planning to do whatever on Friday night," and he sent it to her.
Oh, stop!
So that never happened.
Worst fear. Everyone's worst fear.
So
there's no way
that Friday night never happened.
Yeah, sure. There's no way that you could backtrack out of that, because you literally just labelled the plans that you both just made, sent it to someone else. Like, no, I'm actually meeting someone else on. Like,
yeah, there's no way.
The same thing as you.
I think he maybe sent like a text afterwards, just go, so how are you anyway?
Yeah, that's so
what can you do? Yeah, what can you do? But anyway, yeah.
Inside.
So that was kind of the mood that I was in last night in the show when Tara decided to burst into the studio and confront me live on air, and I was like, no, not Tara, the other Tara that works here. Oh, there isn't
there
one.
Is no other Tara that works here. I'm the only one.
Oh God, 53104 for 20 cents. I did hear you mention though a couple of minutes ago, which I was intrigued with. Is this true? Are McDonald's delivering now?
Yeah, certain locations, mostly ones in town now, which is absolute so dangerous for me. I'm just going to get home and be like, I'll just have all of these things, and they're going to be like, what? No, the menu, please.
Does McDonald's keep though? I have a theory that McDonald's cools pretty quickly.
Maybe. Yeah. I've always eaten it too fast to find out, to be honest with you. Who has time to figure out whether it keeps or not?
That's true.
Do you know?
I wonder, do they know what they're getting themselves into? Like, seriously, they're just going to be delivering to houses at 3 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. People either drunk or stoned or whatever. I don't know if they want to be going down down that road.
Yeah, they've opened a can of worms there. Although we're appreciative of it, we're worried for their well-being.
Yeah,
you know.
Well, I mean, why haven't they done it sooner?
I don't know.
Oh, Gav says they're only delivering till 12. Gav checked us out earlier on.
That was quite smart.
Yeah, I wonder how long that's going to last. Because you remember, even Krispy Kremes couldn't get away with the 24-hour thing after like a week.
That's the thing. They're supposed to be opening that back up again too.
Oh, are they?
Are they? I don't know. Maybe it's a rumour that I heard. All the residents are freaking out as I speak right now.
Well, if they are, the F104 phone show better get back on it, because it was actually us who were encouraging people in the first place to beep.
I know, disgraceful behaviour altogether.
On the Friday show. I learned a little fact yesterday that I just want to share. Now, it's a nerdy fact, but I just think it's brilliant. I'm reading this book at the moment, right? Nerd alert. It's a history book.
What, you read?
Yeah.
I'm joking.
History. I love history. So anyway, I was reading this World War I book at the moment, and I got a little nugget out of it. It was like, oh yeah, I'm going to bring that up in air, even if people don't care. I just thought of
McDonald's nuggets when you said that.
McDonald's nuggets?
You just said I got a little nugget out of...
I don't know. I wouldn't. I've never eaten nuggets. I saw a video once. Yeah, did not see the video.
No,
you know what they're made with.
No, don't ruin it.
Will I tell you?
No, please.
You know cute baby chicks.
No.
You know cute baby chicks? I'm
going to walk out of... No, they're not.
This is a cute baby chick on the thing, and then this is a nugget going.
I've literally gone 16 no's and you're still talking.
It's for the benefit of our listeners.
Sorry, I regret instantly bringing that.
That's what you do.
History, continue.
Yeah, so you know the word chatting or chat, to have a chat or to chat, that comes from World War I. I didn't realise that. Again, I appreciate a lot of people probably don't care, but it could be a good little quiz tip. So apparently a chat, right, is a louse, like lice, like a louse. Oh. So back in World War I, when they used to get obviously lice all over them, the lice that are hanging around in ditches, they'd all have to meet up, take off their uniform and their underwear, and kind of pick the louse or pick the chat out of it, right? So they'd all meet up and have a chat. Oh. So while they're doing it, they'd be gossiping about other soldiers, kind of going, your man's a bit shit shooting that gun, isn't he? And they'd all have a little bit of a gossip, and that's where the word chat comes from. Oh. Is that not interesting?
Yeah, like, it is. Yeah. It's very interesting.
I know that a lot of people are thinking, oh God, I'd love to be going out with Keith.
Yeah, I know. She's lucky.
Oh, she's a lucky girl.
Random fact of the day.
Imagine having to put up with me with those facts 24/7. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I feel like you'd bring them up in like really awkward situations, like maybe meeting your parents for the first time or something.
Here's one for you. Yeah,
I have random facts. Do you know what the word chat comes from? They're like, who is this guy, please?
Well, we learned yesterday. It was actually Cormac was there. We learned yesterday in the phone show that the biggest organ in the body is the skin. There you go.
I knew that already.
Yeah, well,
next.
Can have that one for free.
Next.
I'm done. That's it. I have two of them. I just thought I'd share it with people. There you go. You can use it like in a pub quiz.
Yeah.
Yeah. But one conversation I was having with herself earlier on, we were playing music. I was in the car and I don't know, she hooked up her phone anyway to the radio. Imagine not listening to F104. And she started playing songs. She was like, oh, I love this song. This reminds me of when I was 18. Now, in fairness, it wasn't a very good song. You know the song, She's So Lovely. She's so lovely.
That was like...
a bit...
What is it? Oh my God!
I want to say
I know the name of the band.
Scouting for Girls or something.
Scouting for Girls. That's it. Yeah.
Don't worry, I'm not going to play that. I was just like, but then that got me thinking of songs that remind me of when I turned 18. And I don't know if you have a song that kind of, you know, when you first turn 18 and you start going to nightclubs.
Yeah.
What kind of song was out at the time? So I'll quickly play a little clip from mine. So when I turned 18, which was probably 2004, 2005, something like that. 2005, I think would be. This was in the charts.
Oh my God.
The Killers. Somebody Told Me. Do you remember this song? That was a tune. Imagine walking into Q Bar.
Oh my God, Q Bar. Don't tell me you used to go to Q Bar as well.
Oh yeah. Reds, can I say? Look, they're both shut down now. They're under a different name. Reds was the club you went to if you didn't get into Q Bar.
Yes,
which happened quite a bit.
Yeah, I think so. I think we tried Q Bar first and went over to Reds, but I had to stop frequenting Reds because I nearly got started on one time.
Really?
There. Yeah, this girl, I don't know what it was, and we saw her doing the same thing the following week. I bumped into her.
What was the problem?
Completely it was like one of these people. I bumped into her completely by accident and accidentally spilled the tiniest little fraction of her drink over her. She slapped slapped my friend. No, sorry, she went to go for my friend, so I slapped her.
You got in there first?
I did. I got in there first, and you look at me. I am vertically challenged. I am in no
How hard was the slap?
It wasn't that bad because I wasn't tall enough to reach her.
I'm impressed.
I know. I'm disgusted. I'm disgusted at myself, and then I ran away. But like I was in no, seriously, it was like slap and run, and it's one of my finest moments, but also not really my finest moments because I realised it's like my arm acted independently of my body.
I know what you mean. But like I've been into, thankfully not in years, but I've been in a couple of fights, you know, as a teenager and stuff. Yeah. And there's always that initial rush of blood, and then the fear sets in. So especially if you throw the first punch or slap, you're angry and you do it, and then once you've done it, you go, oh shit, what do I do now?
Yeah, back away immediately. That's exactly.
I gotta run.
It was a hit and run. It was a hit and run.
Slap and run.
Hit in the corner. Bought my friend one of those like little wicked blues.
Oh yeah.
Because she was the one who like nearly like knocked into her. We both nearly did, and she was literally scouting. Like Rez wasn't it wasn't big at all. It was.
She was literally scouting for girls.
Scouting for girls.
Yeah.
Hiding in the corner. Just handed her a wicked blue, and I was like, just stay here for 1 second while I go get help. Never found us, but then I saw her doing the exact same thing to other people. She like started on people for no reason in the bathroom, maybe because they went into the cubicle before her.
Was she
I
on
was
something?
like, oh, she actually has problems.
Was she on something?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. But she was just the reason. Like it would take a lot for me to get to that point. I have to justify myself.
Yeah. Wow, you took one for the team. Fair play.
She was about to literally stand on me.
Well, look, FM104 does not condone violence.
Don't. I don't either.
Sometimes, I suppose, it can be necessary if your friend's getting started on. Yeah.
Defence mechanisms.
Some people will.
And I was also a bit drunk.
Yeah.
Always drink responsibly. Always.
And everything else that you should be responsible at. Don't think I remember at Reds. It had a very low roof.
Yeah, it was perfect for me, though.
Yeah, you probably didn't notice. It was like going back to your primary school as an adult, going, what? So low. But anyway, this song was definitely reminds me of when I turned 18. So we'll throw it out there. What songs remind you of when you first turned 18 that can go to nightclubs and bars and the likes? 53104 for 20 cents. What's yours, Tara, off the top of your head?
Okay, mine. Everybody who used to go to Wes and Donnybrook will know this song straight away. I think it's Lil Jon, To the Window, to the Wall. You know that one?
That's filthy, Tara.
I know it's filthy.
I don't even, can I even play this?
What do you expect?
Can I even play this? Lil Jon?
Probably not, but I mean...
I tell you what, I'll play a small bit, but if this gets a little bit too much, I'm going to have to cut this off. Oh, this is filthy.
It's so filthy.
They were dancing that in the Wes, were they?
Of course they were.
Did Mommy and Daddy know about this? I wonder.
No, they didn't. Need to know basis.
Is Wes still going, actually?
No, it couldn't be, could it? Actually, I'd love to know. Is it?
Can I play with your panty line?
Oh, God.
Tara.
I know.
This is filth.
I know. But that was like the song. Once that came on, everybody like screamed, dropped whatever they were holding, and went straight onto the dance floor. I was one of those people.
And were you actually dropping to this? What do we call it? Slut dropping?
Slut dropping.
Yeah.
Of course I was slut dropping. Everybody was slut dropping back then.
Before people think that I'm judging women or something, that's the actual name.
It actually is, yeah. It was, I think it came from Geordie Shore or something like that. Slut drop.
Come on, get to the chorus.
I mean, we're listening to the whole song here. Can you play a snippet, Tara? Yeah.
The thing is, no one knows what they're saying.
It's just like made up lyrics, really. Oh yeah. Brings me back to my youth.
All right. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting something a little bit more innocent.
No.
Right? Some of the songs that remind you of turning 18, no matter what it is, I might even play probably what my mom's one reminds her of. It's actually a bit of a tune, to be fair to my mom.
Oh,
I'll play it after the break. 53104 for 20 cents. If there's anything that kind of just reminds you of turning 18, kind of going to the club, the bar for the first time, let us know, and we'll give it and let us know why. What was so good about it? As I just heard from Tyra there, you just wanted to get filthy, basically.
Yeah, I didn't want to get filthy. Just Wes was the place that you went to and you came out without any makeup on because the place was so bloody warm. It was great.
Why? Was because everyone was just dancing?
Everybody, yeah. It was like a little sweat box.
I've never been to Wes. Never.
Have you not?
No.
Yeah.
I've been to all the other ones. Do you remember Temple Theatre? I think
Temple
it was.
Theatre, no.
Al Gibbs would know what I'm talking about.
Where's that?
God, I don't know. It's in town somewhere. God, I don't know.
I don't think I've ever gone there before.
And then the red box as well, which was attached to the pod.
Yes.
That was actually pretty good, but again, that was inevitably, you call something a red box, what's it become? The sweat box.
Oh, of course.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, standard.
Right, 53104 for 20 cents. Talking about music and music artists and the likes. I don't know if you've heard this yet. I was absolutely gobsmacked at this, right? So I know of this artist. I'm sure you do too. I'm sure our listeners at home know of this artist in a different light. He does R&B. He's fine. He's grand. I wouldn't put him up there with, like, I don't know, Michael Jackson or Bruno Mars. You know, he's just your bog standard R&B.
He's average.
Yeah, he's fine. He likes shouting his own name. He likes shouting his own name quite a bit. Then I heard this. This is the same person. This guy is talented. I had no clue. So tell us who the artist is. An extremely well-known R&B artist. This literally just dropped about a day or two ago. I came across it and I was gobsmacked that he can actually sing like this. R&B star.
Stop.
Very well-known R&B star.
I thought you were playing the wrong clip first.
No. It even gets better. Listen to this.
Okay.
Again, R&B star. I tell you what.
Impressive. Okay.
So this guy's gone up in my estimation. I actually really like this. Not that I'm mad into classical music. I just think that why isn't he doing more of that?
Yeah, it's like, oh, you can actually do more than this.
Yeah.
Well done.
Right, so extreme. I tell you what, we'll take a number of guesses on this. Give it a bash anyway. And even if you're close, we'll give you an FM104 goodie bag. 53104 for 20 cents. Who is the artist, American R&B singer? He's still around today, still doing his thing. Very fond of saying his own name on tracks, and it's not Lil Jon. 53104 for 20 cents. Right, quick break.
FM104 Phone Show
with Keith Ward. It's controversial. It's different radio for 2018.
FM104.
So that's the Nolan sisters, right? The boss is probably listening to this, go, what the hell's going on?
What is he doing?
Apparently that song reminds my mum of when she turned 18.
Oh, better times. I feel like I grew up in the wrong era.
It's not a bad old song. I tell you what, just look at the video there. They're not bad looking women, the Nolan
really
sisters.
Yes.
They're alright looking.
Beautiful.
So that's what we're looking for tonight as well. Songs that remind you of when you turned 18, when you started going out to clubs and bars and the likes. 53104 for 20 cents is the number. A lot of right guesses and wrong guesses for the chap that I just played there. Play a quick little clip. This guy, I just told Tara during the break who it was because you wanted to know.
Yeah, I'm
and
really
even you're
shocked.
shocked.
I'm really, really shocked.
You know, okay, obviously it isn't as commercial. Like, you're not going to dance to this in a nightclub.
Don't tell me what I will and won't dance to, Keith.
That's true. Depends what mood you're in.
Interpretive dancing.
I just don't know why he doesn't do more of that. Like, that's sensational. Right, 6797 FM104 if you think you know who that is. Alan's on the line. Hi, Alan.
Good evening, guys. How are we?
How are you? What's going on?
Just finished work at 7 o'clock. Another 12-hour shift.
Oh, God.
Hang on, you finished work at 7. Why are you still in the car?
Oh no, they just picked up Claire and just did a KFC drive-through at the minute.
Oh, stop.
KFC.
Tell me you're getting the gravy, please.
Yes, we are.
I don't know.
The gravy and a straw or a spoon.
2 seconds, hang on.
Oh no, we'll listen to your order. Go on.
How you doing?
See what he's getting.
Yeah. Lovely. Thank you.
Order me some chicken tenders.
Extra gravy as well, please.
Thank you.
Yeah, we bring it in to you.
Would you mind? Actually, that would be delish.
I don't know. There's something about KFC that I don't like. I don't like the fact that you get. Well, I know you can. It's optional, obviously, but you can get beans with it. Beans shouldn't be in a takeaway restaurant or like a fast food restaurant.
Yeah, but nobody's forcing the beans on you.
No, I know that. But
you can get a corn on the cob in there if you fancy it too. But nobody's telling you to eat your veg. Get a burger. Get the tenders. Get the chips.
I don't know. I think KFC can be very sneaky the way they do things. What I mean is, there's a KFC near me on the Newnanger Road, and I'm convinced they waft that smell, that goodness smell out the door. Like if you go past McDonald's, you don't really smell it. For some reason with KFC, I don't know if it's some odour toilet that they have, or that's
say that again.
I don't know. I went for
toilet.
What's it called? Tell me what it's called, Tara. Don't just laugh. Tell me what it's called. Correct me.
Odour toilet.
What's it called then? That's what it's called. Odour toilet.
Oh my God.
What's it called then?
Odour toilet. You uncultured swine.
I did French and all. Odour toilet. What?
Odour toilet.
Odour toilet.
Just stick with that one, it's better.
I don't know if they have some odour toilet that they just waft outside. You know what I mean? Some aftershave, or that's the actual smell of the food. It's sneaky though. It's very hard to drive past the place. Gab knows what I'm talking about. He lives in the same area. It's you can't drive past the place without going,
you can't.
I need some KFC.
You better go in.
Is that odour toilet?
About the odour toilet.
Oh God. Alan, what song reminds you of turning 18?
Hathaway.
Oh,
what is love?
That is a tune.
1993. I'm actually that old.
What a tune.
I think that is a tune, yeah.
It is.
Do you know
I
what?
respect you more.
I would have been going into the likes of Club M and McGrath and stuff like that.
I love Club M.
I heard Tara going, oh! Yeah. That would have been the likes of Two Unlimited, Snap.
Oh yeah, like no.
Yeah. Oh, can I ask you a question, Alan? I suppose you never wore heels, so you wouldn't really have the problem. Did you ever snot yourself going down those stairs at Club M?
No.
I did.
Is it still there at Club M?
I actually stopped somebody from going on our snot down the stairs. It could have been you.
Could have been me. Because I fell many times.
I don't think it was Tara in 1993 though, because you would have been like 2 or something. I would have
been 2 years of age. Yeah. So Alan, I'm afraid our paths did not cross.
No, Hathaway was one of the big songs that I remember.
Do you know what? If this still came on in the club, people would dance to this.
100%. Yeah.
That's a tune.
Yeah, I'd be ripping it up.
It was a proper, but I mean, then you have the likes of Rhythm as a Dancer.
Yeah.
The CNC Music Factory. Two Unlimited.
Oh
yes, Two Unlimited. What a tune.
There was something about music. Yeah. I mean, I'm only going back. I would have been 93, 5 or something. But I still like that music still stands up. Like that's a banger.
It does.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of those tunes. Just 2 seconds to turn off the car engine for a second. A lot of those tunes, you know, they're remixing them still. They're remixing them into more, like they're trying to up the tempo. And,
yeah.
I mean, they're still valid tunes. I mean, they're cult classics.
Timeless.
Do you remember this song? It's kind of the same kind of genre, the same time. KWS, Please Don't Go. Do you remember this?
Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
We just listened to all of our favourite tunes on the phone.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to talk about some old classic tunes, what about KLF?
You kind of get the feeling they were just kind of making these names up. KWS, KSL.
They actually done that duet with Lulu as well. Actually, the Justified and Ancient.
Does that not Take That? No, Relight My Fire. That's not a good song.
They actually KLF actually done a version.
He knows his music.
Yeah, he did.
Maybe listen to the man. Yeah, he seems to know what he's talking about.
All right, stick with us, Alan. We won't leave you too long. We don't want that KFC. Again, sounds like a band from the 90s. Don't want the KFC to get cold. 53104 for 20 cents. What a banger this is.
This is just making me so happy.
Yeah.
Food for the soul.
I'm getting all nostalgic, even though I wasn't an adult when this was played. You know what I mean? I'm kind of reminiscing about all the days in the nightclubs that it was actually never in, because it was about 5 when this was released.
Yeah, I know, but these songs still would have been really big around that time as well. Yeah. So even when I was growing up as well, I used to listen to the likes of Queen.
Oh yeah.
I didn't have the typical upbringing in terms of music, younger girl music. I was listening to Queen, and I was listening to Prodigy.
What a tragedy.
I swear.
As a little kid.
Swear to God.
Smack my bitch up. You were dancing around
Smack my
to.
bitch up as a 3-year-old child.
What's Tara listening to at the moment? Is it Teddy Bear's Picnic? Oh no, it's Smack My Bitch.
Yeah, literally, like
fire starter.
So you can only imagine what I was like at Electric Picnic this year when they took to the stage.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God.
Going mental.
Some guy tried to stand in front of me too. I had none of them.
You're up out of it.
Reefed him out of the way. Like you're one in reds.
I was going to say, we're starting to see a bit of a trend. It always seems to be someone else's fault when Tara's around, but the common denominator is always Tara. That's strange. Yeah, when Tara's on a night out.
Because people assume that because I'm small, I'm innocent and I won't respond. But
yeah, it's like, what do they call it? A Napoleonic
or little man
syndrome or something.
Little man syndrome.
Aaron's on the line. Hiya, Aaron.
How are you doing?
What's going on, man? How are you tonight?
Not too bad. Just way home from work.
Yeah? What do you do?
I work in Harvey Norman.
Harvey Norman's.
Yeah.
Right, so Black Friday is nearly upon you.
Stop.
Have you literally been prepping yourself every night?
Yeah. All the time.
Are you, Aaron, are you a bit like the doctors and the nurses that you can't call in sick or take a holiday on Black Friday?
No, not a chance. Like, we're actually told, like, no matter if you lose a leg, you have to come in.
Right.
But nobody gets as aggressive on I was going to say Good Friday, Black Friday, completely different things. Nobody gets as aggressive. Like the States, I think they do like serious discounts where it's like 70% off TVs and they're all kicking each other in the face. Aaron, you've never seen anybody get that aggressive, have you?
No, not yet.
Thank God.
Every year is different. It gets worse every year.
You're joking.
Yeah, there's still time. Aaron. What age are you, Aaron?
27.
Right, 27. Right, so what would have been the song when you turned 18, started going out to clubs? Can you, off the top of your head, something kind of stick out?
Probably Flow Rider, Right Round.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's Kesha's first, I think, appearance musically.
Flow Rider, You Spin Me. Is that, which one's that now?
No. Right, No, you typed it in wrong. That's Flower Rider.
I've typed in Florida.
Flow Rider, but he's not Florida. That's a state in the US. He is Flow Rider.
There we go, got it.
Get it right.
Yeah, that's not a bad old tune.
Yeah, I like
that. With Kesha.
You would have been around the same era as me, Aaron.
Yeah, feel pretty old now, though.
Yeah. Where did you go, Aaron? Where was the...
around Swords.
Swords, so the right venue or something?
No, she wasn't open back then.
That wouldn't have been open back then.
Really, only 9 years ago? What, the right venue wasn't open?
The right venue I think only opened when I was about maybe 21, 22.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so it was a little bit after when I was 18, but it was too far out for me.
Yeah, well, it was way too far out for me.
50 quid in a taxi home.
You probably don't remember this because I think it was too young to go, but I used to hear about older people going. There used to be a nightclub, I don't think it's there anymore, Time in Nace.
Oh, I did hear about that, yeah.
Yeah, I never went. The only thing I remember about it, they used to have big flashlights, like not flashlight like a torch, like a massive spotlight, like something that you'd call Batman on. And they used to wave it around outside. You could actually see it from my house. I live in Clondalkin, you could see it. Yeah, always wanted to go.
You're like, oh, for God's sake.
And then it closed down. And then as well, I was driving through Leakslip the other day, and there used to be, everyone near Leakslip or that area would know the Ozone, it used to be called. It was a nightclub. It's now like an Aldi. How depressing is that? You know?
Oh, God. Yeah, it's the same as well with McGowan's in Churchtown. That was a place that I used to go
what's
to.
That now?
Everybody, oh my God, everybody that lives in that area knows exactly what I was talking about. That was the place I used to go to. It was absolutely unreal. You could literally walk home from it, but now it's a bloody cafe.
Oh.
And they used to have a cage. I mean, I was actually in there like
a cafe as well.
And I was like, that's where I used to dance in the cage.
I know. I was standing at the checkout the other day in Aldi going, yeah, this is where it was getting stuck into someone here, and here's where
shift in the corner.
There's still lads going up and down the aisle off their face going, oh man, yeah, can you play that tune again? And of course you don't play tunes in Aldi, so yeah, right, let's give this a bash. This one. Oh yeah, this was on the end credits of The Hangover, if you remember. Remember they're going through all the pictures.
Such a good song.
Yeah,
good choice.
On, you walk in, you feel like, oh yeah, that's where it's done me good.
Yeah.
It was that type of song where you walked into a club, but if this display just felt like an absolute boss, you're like, I am ready.
Yeah, Aaron, if you ever actually walked down the stairs of a nightclub to this song, you like that? You felt like John Travolta in Saturday Night Fever.
Straight up to the bar, Smirnoff Ice, please.
Yeah.
I'll take the usual, please.
Yeah, the usual, yeah.
And they're like, sorry mate, no idea who you are, please order something.
A bit like in Fair City, if you ever watch Fair City or even Coronation Street and all, obviously they don't talk with the brand, so you'll obviously see people go up to the pub, just go, how are you there, gives a pint of lager. Like, whoever does that, a pint of lager, yeah, which brand, mate?
They'd be like, what lager? That's
what
just lager,
I've got like 12 here, but obviously in Carrickstown they only have one lager ever.
That's all they're allowed.
A pint of lager, please. Fair enough. Right, stick with us, Aaron. Finally, Amy's on the line. Hiya, Amy.
Hey
Hi, how are you?
What's going on, Amy? How are you tonight?
I'm good. I'm just coming back from the gym in the rain, so...
Coming back from the gym in the rain.
I know, I just felt very spontaneous after that full energy, so dialed in.
Yeah. Nothing's more depressing than a midweek gym session and then, like I'm talking like a gone.
I was staring at you like, please.
When I used to go. I remember those 3 letters very well back in the day.
The guy at McDonald's served me, whose name was Jim, so...
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Same thing.
They deliver now, so yeah, that's the gym session gone. Amy, a tough gym session, or is it just one of those things that you show up so you don't feel guilty, but you just end up going to the sauna?
Do you know what? It was actually yoga.
Oh, yoga.
Okay.
Hot yoga or just normal yoga?
Gym session, but it was very chilled.
Right. So you were doing cat 1 and cat 2 and dog 1 and all that sort of lark.
Exactly.
Do you know, people make out like yoga is actually really easy.
Hard.
I am like, and I don't know whether it's because I'm like really unfit or something, but I am sweating buckets doing yoga. It's stamina. You're holding one position for ages, and they're like, okay, now stay like that for 20 minutes. Okay, and change, and you're like, oh, okay.
I don't know, Amy. You wouldn't really get fit from it.
Nobody else is struggling.
Would you? You wouldn't get fit from it, though, would you, Amy?
Oh, you get very lean now.
Lean.
You do, definitely. I just don't have the patience. I need something that's either like you like literally leave the gym in tears or nothing. Do you know?
I have a theory that it's mainly only women that do it, though, isn't it? Like a lot of the time. Say again?
There was one man in there.
Oh, one man. Okay.
I'd say he walked in, sat down, shat himself, and then was like, I can't leave.
Who knows? And where does the man stand, Amy? Is he at the top of the class or the back of the class?
He actually didn't hide away. He was front of the teacher,
Right.
So,
yeah.
Right.
yeah.
No.
Maybe he was just there to look at numerous beautiful women, possibly.
Yeah.
Nobody looks beautiful when they're doing yoga.
That's very true.
Nobody.
Or in the gym, full stop,
in
really.
the gym, except for those girls who go with a full face of makeup on to walk on the treadmill for 5 minutes.
Yeah, I've seen
Instagram
that.
it and then go home.
It's very impressive, actually.
So annoying. There's the guys and girls. I've seen both do it. I'm like, oh.
What, makeup on? The guys have
Obviously,
makeup
the
on as
guys
well.
do not have makeup on.
Well, what's wrong with guys wearing makeup, Tara?
Oh my God, you are. I'm about to come across this desk right now.
See, you can, in 2 seconds on the phone show, you can dig yourself a hole. It's like, you're constantly just dodging landmines the whole time.
Sorry,
Welcome to my world.
what did you call Eau de Toilette 2 minutes ago?
Eau de Toilet.
Toilet.
Odor Toilet.
I know, thank you, Amy. Oh my God. He actually said, what's the name? That odor toilet.
Amy, did you know it was called what's it called?
Eau de Toilette, you uncultured swine. Get
It's
it
pretty
right.
much the same thing.
Would you say eau de toilet in the shop if you're asking for something?
No, I wouldn't. I'd say aftershave. Well, you wouldn't say. You'd say
No,
that
you
again.
wouldn't.
You'd say the brand. A bit like the Fair City thing. You wouldn't say a pint of lager, please. Can I have some aftershave? You'd say whatever the brand is,
Well,
wouldn't
I'd be
you?
worried if you went in and asked for an eau de toilette anyway, but odor toilet. They'd be like, excuse me, sir, please vacate the premises immediately. Call the police.
Yeah, they'd actually say, actually, that's just for patrons' use. No, not the jacks. I'm looking for... Yeah.
There's an odour in the toilet. What?
Is it just me? Maybe this is just a lad thing. I often get quite annoyed at myself when I say I go on a shopping trip, or usually I'm dragged along to a shopping trip, say to Liffey Valley or something, and I've had a shower and I've put aftershave on and everything else, and you go out, and then you don't realise you're going to Boots, and that's the main thing that annoys me about it, because the best thing about Boots is all the samples of the aftershave are there, but you've already put aftershave on. That really annoys me. Is that a lad thing?
I think it is a lad thing, yeah.
Yeah, I'd never go to Boots to spray that stuff on me.
Would you? Why you wouldn't just to test it out? Like, you know, I'd like going along. You only get the piece of paper and you spraying the bits. I love doing that.
No,
and I'll buy none of them, by the way.
I'd still do that in the airport.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's cheaper in the airport, but like I wouldn't be strolling into Boots and trying every single odour toilet.
Yeah, I do. I mean, not every single odour toilet, but yeah, quite a few. And I'll buy none, by the way, but I just like the free samples. I get very annoyed at myself, go, feck it, I've put aftershave on already.
So you just come out smelling like a garden?
No, I just don't put, like a potpourri, like a hooker's handbag, as I say. I don't know, maybe it's just me. That's what I thought. Again, though, you're bringing up the airport, Amy. Has anyone actually ever bought aftershave or anything in the airport?
Yeah.
Like, when you think about it.
No, I actually haven't.
No.
Like, as in, I'll try it, but you see, you get to the point that you can't even smell certain scents anymore because you smell so many of them. So I just put it back down.
Yeah, for me, it's not even that. It's just the fact you like, especially if it's before like a long holiday. Like, if you're going on a 2-week holiday, the last thing you want to do is before you leave spend a 60 quid in the airport on an aftershave. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a bit of an expense to pay before you go on holidays.
It is, but if you've run out of your perfume, if you've run out of makeup, let's say, for example, MAC, I'll wait until I go to the airport to buy it on my way out because I'll be buying it anyway. Because I need it. Do you know?
So you purposely wait to your holidays to buy your makeup? Okay.
I mean, no, if I run out to it close to the time of my holiday, I'm not that stingy.
So if you ever see Tara done up to the nines, it means she's just gotten back from Marbella.
I have.
Amy, what's your song that reminds you of when you turned 18?
Yeah, so I was also one that used to go to Wales all the time.
Yay!
For that, it reminds me of Lil Jon Get Low. So, bit of a belter.
Nice. That's just literally the one I said a few minutes ago.
How lazy was this? How lazy was this DJ in Wes that he just put on Lil Jon albums for the whole night and just left?
It's not that. Just me and Amy are on the same wavelength. That's the song that I gave for the song that I thought reminded me of when I was 18, and Amy just thinks the exact same thing. It was filthy in Wes, though, wasn't it?
Oh, insane.
How filthy are we talking about, Amy? How filthy?
Very filthy.
Filthier than a yoga class on Thursday night.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better myself. Now, some of the stuff that you'd see in Wes, you'd be like, oh God, I'm just going to pretend that never happened.
And the thing is,
every time we touch as well is a good one.
Yes, Cascada.
I have a feeling that quite a lot of people would have remembered this from when they turned 18. Obviously, depending on what year it is, but this is a tune and a half.
Oh yes,
Gasolina.
Yeah, very good.
I used to just like mumble the lyrics though.
Oh yeah, no one had it. It's in Spanish. No one had a clue.
But apparently it's...
Or the Discovery Channel song. It's very good as well.
Oh yes.
The what?
You and me, baby, ain't nothing but mammals. That one.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
It has like a really unrelated name to the song, and I can't think of it now. It's actually after escaping.
I know. I can't think of it either. I was like,
what are they called?
That's really going to annoy me now.
Oh,
that is really going to annoy me.
Nothing to do. Yeah, I can't.
I can picture now. They're all dressed as monkeys running around Paris.
I can literally. I'm just trying to. Hang on, I can.
If you type in monkeys running around Paris.
Monkeys running around. Hang on. It's like the National Geographic song. I'm just. Oh God! If you could see my search history right now, what I'm typing into Google. Hang on. Bloodhound Gang, The Bad Touch. There we go.
Yeah, we'll finish the show out with that one, yeah.
Please, could we? That'd be nice.
I'll go in 1999 on that one. Yeah. No, 2000s we'll go with.
Do you remember, Amy, actually, from Wes? Remember the drunk chair?
Oh, stop.
The drunk chair?
The drunk chair.
Oh, I've had an experience with that,
You did? Oh my God, you're one of those people that I always used to walk past and be like, oh God, poor girl.
What's the drunk chair?
Amy, you take the floor.
No, it's the drunk room. So there's a drunk chair in a drunk room, and then there's a line that you have to like walk across. Well, it's basically you just have to walk in a straight line, but at the time it's definitely a lot more complicated than that. But yeah, you've a designated room, drunk room with a drunk chair, and basically they just have you in there with paramedics and call your parents.
Oh, I see. Right.
So it's the time where your mammy gets called.
Oh God! And this is what they make you walk in a straight line, like a bit like in the States. The cop asks you to do the test, the sobriety test, and asks you to do the alphabet backwards.
Straight line. They basically give you kind of a chance. If you're sober, for this to go back in.
Yeah.
But most people can't even walk in a straight line if they're in that room in the first place.
I know. Who passed that, really? Whoever did.
I mean, let's be honest. If you're in there already, And
then shout out to Donnie, who used to always let you in as well.
Yes! Oh, I'd love to frequent Wes one more time. I wouldn't be allowed in. They'd be like, you are literally nearly 30, please go home.
The drunk chair. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Drunk chair. Never experienced it myself.
The thing about it is when you watch all those kind of cop shows and you see people, being asked to do the alphabet backwards. I don't know about you. I couldn't, sober, I couldn't do the alphabet backwards.
I couldn't do that. No, that hurts my brain even sober.
I know it starts with X, but after X, Y, oh no, I couldn't.
You did not say X. It does not start with X.
Z.
Idiot.
Oh.
What is wrong with you today?
I know, I said it's not like
nobody brain farts.
It's not like me, is it?
No.
No, I don't know what's wrong with me today. today, a bit off. Right, okay. Moving on.
It starts with X. I was like, please tell me he's
Oh, they're toilets. Right, we did ask, though, who this extremely talented, as it seems, R&B star. Not him.
That's not.
Jason Derulo.
Oh, that's not a bad tune, though, to be fair. Right, this one. Someone said on 53104 that it's Paul Potts. I don't think Paul Potts is an R&B star, is he?
No,
Unless I've missed his recent album. No. Getting down with the bitches and hoes, Paul Potts. Amy, who do you think it is?
I said Jason Derulo.
Jason Derulo.
Right.
Yeah. Jason Derulo.
Yeah.
I thought he was saying chasing the ruler.
Oh,
for
God.
years. Chasing the ruler. That's what I thought.
Yeah, it's a very common misheard lyric, I think.
Again, is it just me?
Yeah.
Aaron, who do you think we're talking about?
Jason Derulo.
Jason Derulo. Were you a bit shocked at this? I watched this video and I was like, my God, that guy's good.
I definitely thought it was someone else's voice on it.
Yeah, actually, I thought it was dubbed, but it isn't.
That's
No.
insane. I can't believe
Yeah.
it. Like,
Now, I had to cut out the end because even though he's still doing a classical song, he still manages to work his own name in, even there at the end.
Does he actually?
Yeah,
Ah,
I just
fair
had
play.
to take it out, didn't want to give it away. Right, Jason Derulo, people are saying. Let me see, so a couple of Pitbull's come in once or twice. Does Pitbull can't even sing, can he?
no.
Doesn't really sing.
He
so.
actually supported Britney Spears when I went to her gig just there in August.
Oh, musically? I thought you meant
Yes.
like emotionally or something.
No, like, yeah, probably
He
maybe
supported
emotionally.
Britney.
Who knows?
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah, interesting.
Interesting.
To say
Just
the
a lot
least.
of girls shaking their bums up on stage. I was like, he has not changed a bit.
Like
it's
a
the
Wes.
worldwide.
Right, is it Jason Derulo? Our survey says. So listen, Aaron and Amy, you've won yourself some FM104 goodie bags, okay, guys?
Baby, cheers, thanks, man.
There you go. Very much is.
Congratulations.
Jason Derulo. Yeah, check out the video. It's got a whole orchestra behind him and the likes.
Insane. I don't know. I never would have thought I'd hear something. Because when you said it's a guy that keeps saying his name in songs, I immediately thought of DJ Khaled.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he just shouts it at you at the start and the end of every
Yeah,
song.
DJ Khaled.
It's like,
yeah.
oh, sorry, I didn't catch that. Who was it again? Sorry. Okay.
Yeah, there's a real arrogance about it when you think about it. The constantly keep saying your own name.
Yeah. I don't know. Apparently his first and his last name is Khaled. So his name is Khaled.
Oh, is it? Sorry.
Anyway, that's why he says another one.
I thought you were going to say his actual name is DJ.
No.
Right.
No, that's not his name.
Yeah, no, there is a certain arrogance though about keep saying your name the whole time. Anyway, you're listening to the FM104 Phone Show with Keith Ward and Tara Murray here. That sounds egotistical. Right, coming up next, we'll be talking about scams and ticket scams in general, basically. So you might want to have a listen to this if you've missed out on tickets in the past and then gone on somewhere to find that they're going for extortionate rates. You might be interested in what Lorraine is going to tell us next. 53104 for 20 cent. Quick break.
FM104 Phone Show.
With Keith Ward. It's controversial. It's different radio for 2018.
FM104.
Very welcome back. 6797 F104 is the number. Lorraine, you're live in F104. Hey, Lorraine.
Hello, how are you?
Very good. You got in contact with us over essentially people raffling off gig tickets online, and some people think that it's a bit of a scam. What's the story?
Basically, you can't really sell them on Dundee anymore.
Right.
You know, you're not supposed to, and all this kind of crack.
Yeah.
So people have started raffling them off, and they're making over €120 on these tickets.
And the ticket would usually be what, 50, 60 quid, something like that?
Well, there was Golden Circle tickets, for argument's sake,
Yeah.
for Westlife, and they're €171 each.
Wow.
But the raffling, and the person's making €470.
So how does it work then? So
It's the lottery numbers.
So they pop it up on Facebook or something, is it?
It's all over different social media platforms.
Right.
And 1 to 47, and it's £10 a ball.
Right.
But you don't mind someone doing it maybe that couldn't make it to a concert or something. But there's actually people making a living off it.
So if they're selling €10 raffle tickets. So what, 47 of them for €10?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. And that is a lot of money for one ticket. That would have cost the Westlife ticket would have cost 170 quid. So
this was for 2 tickets now.
Right. So they're still making a massive profit.
It was €342 for the tickets, and so that's €128 that this person's making. So but it's not only the Westlife tickets, it's other concert tickets that's being sold by different people as well.
And are these,
so they're making a tidy sum.
And are these just punters, or this isn't a company? These are just people who have bought tickets. They're not like...
These are just your average Joe.
Yeah. And were you tempted to... I mean, because a lot of people, especially I suppose coming up to Christmas... you know, a lot of people might be tempted to get involved in that. Did you pay €10? Like, is it actually legit?
No, myself there now, twice in the last couple of months, I've paid towards, like a car raffle.
Yeah.
But if you get involved with ticket raffle, I know some people did, and when they went to the concert, when they went in, the tickets already had been used by someone else.
All right. Yeah. So it's like a duplicate.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, and people are falling for it.
I'm trying to think, though. I mean, even though it seems extremely greedy, I mean, it's essentially more ticket touting than a scam, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's ticket touting, more or less ticket touting. And they say that it's a sold-out concert and this, that. But yet now Westlife and Bon Jovi has an extra date today.
Yeah.
So, little mixed tickets, all concert tickets, they're all doing it. Instead of going to Dundee, this is how they're making their money now.
And so what? You pay £10 online somehow by PayPal or whatever.
It's through their PayPal, so it is.
Yeah.
And if your number comes out, you pick number 13. Your number comes out on the bonus ball. You get them tickets.
Right. So they send you the number, or you pick the number yourself?
Oh, you pick the number yourself. Whatever's left on the list.
Right. I mean, look again. I mean, it is a bit greedy. It is a bit. It's kind of really taking advantage of punters, but I don't know. Personally, I don't know if that comes under, in my book, if that comes under a scam. Like, assuming the tickets are legit, it's kind of more ticket touting in my book. But like,
it would be more ticket touting, and it's making an egg out of people that's going to buy tickets genuinely.
Yeah. But then again, I suppose the old age argument is, if you don't want to, no one's forcing you to pay it. No one's forcing you to get involved in the raffle.
That is very, very true. Don't get involved. But then when you do buy one, you're feeding them and they're making the money, so they're going to keep doing it.
So what's this? Did you put this up on Facebook then or something?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
All right, maybe it's someone else. Someone messaged us earlier on about this, put it up on Facebook, and they were getting a lot of stick over this as well, like they were promoting some scam. Again, I think it's more ticket touting than a scam. All right, stick with us, Lorraine. 53104 for 20 cents. Is there any harm in this? Like, again, it does kind of seem a bit stingy, and someone's obviously making a massive profit out of this. If it's only costing you £10, I mean, is there much money lost in this? No one's forcing you to buy it, and if the tickets are legit, it's not really a scam, but maybe it is a bit mean. 53104 for 20 cents. Robbie's on the line. How are you, Robbie?
How's it going? How are you?
Good. And you work at some of these concerts?
I do. I work at an awful lot of concerts.
Right.
In all arenas in Ireland. And like, what ourselves are saying there about the tickets being up on the loose, like, you see it on Facebook and all that. They do with a lot of things as opposed to just tickets.
Yeah.
But like that, like, I worked at a lot of concerts and I still do. And a lot of them that are sold out, the people that sell them on Facebook, with the raffles, they make them on £110 off a pair of tickets. Realistically, if you go to the actual venue on the day of the concert, you go outside, you have the proper ticket out there, they make them £200 off each ticket. This is one person making an additional, £60.
This is what, the touts outside of the...
Yeah, proper touts that outside the arenas. Like, they'd be outside, like, the Croke Park if there's a decent gig on, or if there's a big game or a big gig on in the Aviva, or even the Free Arena and gigs like that. Like, you get the proper tickets out there that are actually
Yeah, I know. We often see them. Like, we're right beside the 3 Arena here, and we often say, I remember some guy stopped me one time, asked me, did I want to buy Little Mix tickets? I was looking at him going, do I look like someone who would be into Little Mix? But anyway.
And they're stupid prices. Like, they probably buy them for, what, 80 quid, and on the night, they're selling them for like 130, 140, 150 quid, depending on the demand of them. Especially like that, when you have people coming up to you, what you're seeing them do a couple of times is, when you say, for example, you have a mother going up with their kid, they'll look at the mother and the kid saying, like, well, I can charge her whatever they want. because the kid is standing there. The kid wants to see the gig. It's on the night.
They're not going home, are they?
No, realistically, they're not. And especially with a little kid. So I mean, like, I remember a couple of years ago, I was working on a gig, and it was actually, pretty sure it was a Westlife gig a couple of years. Like, it's gone like a couple of years now. But they were in Crow Park at that time, and like that, there was a couple of there was a woman there with two of her kids, and she had bought tickets, and she had bought them through the likes of Facebook, and she got to the door, and they were actually fake.
Oh,
now, because it was a sellout gig, the arena weren't really willing to help them, so she went to a ticket out. Ticket out was asked for €250 a ticket. The tickets were like €80 to buy. Two little kids crying because they got told they were Christmas presents at the time.
Yeah.
They got told they were fake at the door. The ticket out wanted €750 off that woman for 3 tickets. Now that's what I call ripping people for tickets.
And I might be naive here, but like, there's no way that the ticket tout might just feel sorry for them and go, look, I'll cut you a deal, whatever. They're heartless.
No, there's no sympathy at all. Like, the way they walk is, they see someone there and they see 2 kids crying, and like, I want money. I want to go to see that concert. You're not going to tell them, oh yeah, here, look at this, £150 a ticket and you can go in. It doesn't work like that. So, I mean, they're going to make that money regardless. Now, some of them, that's their living, they make their money off it. But I wouldn't be like throwing me toys on me pram over someone selling a couple of tickets on Facebook, making what, £60 off a pair of tickets. Like,
I see what you mean.
Like that, doing a raffle ticket for 1 ticket each.
Yeah.
But like, I wouldn't be like, a lot of people start like throwing their order in, saying like, oh yeah, this is a joke. You're making £60 off a ticket. Try and get a ticket on the night for £60 more, and see how well you get on.
So Lorraine, I suppose what Robbie's saying is that in comparison, it's actually not that bad.
Yes, I do. I know what he means.
There is people out there that's making a lot of money off the likes of tickets. I like that they go and buy 4 or 5 tickets when they go on sale, knowing that's what they're buying them for. But then you have people buying a pair of tickets. Like that, you get a lot of unwanted gifts. Even at some concerts, you get people giving you tickets if you're at the door, saying, look, if someone comes up, give it to them. A lot of them are unwanted gifts, and sometimes they do buy them to sell them. But making £60 off a pair of tickets as opposed to like a ticket, like people on Facebook, they'd be absolutely throwing abuse at some people that have them posts up, and it's a joke. They're making £60 off a pair of tickets.
So what? So people are actually getting abuse on Facebook when someone does these lottos.
Now, I haven't got Facebook anymore, but I jumped off it. But yeah, like, you used to get people saying, oh, ripping people off and all, trying to make money off a raffle and all this. Like, he's making what, £50 off a raffle.
But then again, like, I mean, no one's forcing anyone to. I take your point about the ticket touts outside and the crying children. I mean, that's low, but no one's forcing anyone to buy a €10 lotto ticket. Essentially,
like, it's €10. So it's like that. Like, €10, you buy a curry for €10. It's even. I mean,
well, that's true, but at least you're guaranteed to get. At least you're guaranteed to get the curry, though. Do you know what I mean?
No, but like, that's the chance you take. Like, it's like that betting on a football match. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's €10. If you get a pair of tickets and you win win them for €10, you're getting what, €200 worth of tickets for a tenner. Now, we understand it's 1 in 48 chance or 47, whatever lotto is. But like that, if you are lucky enough to win it, they're getting like £10 spent, and it could even be a Christmas present for someone.
And Robbie, how often, like, would it be every gig that someone would turn up with a fake ticket that they don't know is fake?
No. You don't get that every concert. You do get it at a couple, but you see, they clamp down on it an awful lot now. But you don't really get it as much.
And are these online tickets or are they physical tickets? And do they look like the real deal?
Oh yeah, you get counterfeits everywhere. You get it in every aspect as opposed to just tickets. Like, you can buy anything these days, and you can get a counterfeit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like that, like with the tickets especially, like people buy them on the likes of that Done Deal or adverts or Facebook, and people are sending them over emails with like PDFs that you download and print off. Like, and they're just counterfeits. So I mean, you go to the door, you get them scanned. Sorry, they're not legit.
Yeah, I remember that there's been a couple of times where I've bought tickets online for stuff abroad, like what was it, Viagogo, which, you know, charge extortionate rates, but like it's your last port of call, and it was Ireland against Sweden in the Euros. So I took a punt on it. I won't even tell you what I paid for it, but it was an absolute fortune. And I remember thinking, oh God, is this legit? Have I just parted with hundreds of euro here? Now, thankfully it worked out. And then I went to Drake in Boston a couple of months ago, and it was through some website that I'd never heard of, and thankfully that worked out okay. But I tell you what, I was walking up to the door, Robbie, shaking with my phone in my hand with the ticket, going, I hope, like, because you're going to Boston, do you know what I mean? mean? It was like, I hope this is legit. I can't just go home to my gaff afterwards. Do you know what I mean? I'm after coming all the way to Boston to see it. All right, stick with us, Robbie. 53104 for 20 cents. I mean, look, it's probably a fair point from Robbie in comparison to some of the actual proper ticket touts out there. Is this really much of a crime? This lotto business on social media, people, basically running a raffle to get tickets. I mean, if it's €10 a pop, no one's out of pocket too much, I suppose, and they're probably only making 60, 70 quid profit. Ashling's on the line. Hiya, Aishling.
Hi, I just want to say, I agree, the raffles, they're not making too much money. Now, I'm going to give you an example of proper touting.
Yeah.
I was looking up to get tickets for the U2 gig, and I went on Tuesday. There was an awful lot of people, as you know, they wouldn't have too much of a big following in Ireland. It's more Americans. I seen the poor Americans that had flown over here on the hope of getting a ticket outside, and they were paying touts €900 per ticket.
For one ticket, we're paying 900 quid.
€900, and I can tell you, I paid €235 for 2 tickets for that gig.
Which is still a lot in itself, face value. Was that face value, Ashley?
That was face value. Yeah. I got it in the pre-sale.
Right.
And I reckon the touts all done the same, because basically what you had to do was you had to pay for a pre-sale code, and you were able to get the tickets a week before they went on public sale.
Yeah.
But €900 a ticket, and they were paying it.
I mean, like,
they were paying €900 a ticket.
I mean, like, they must have expected, if they came over to Dublin without a ticket, they obviously knew that they were probably going to have to get a ticket from a ticket house, but maybe they didn't expect 900 quid.
Well, they paid it. I was just like, walking into the free arena, and they were saying €900, and they were opening the wallets and paying it. Not a problem.
900 quid each.
Yeah.
So what? €1,800 for 2 tickets.
Yeah, for 2 tickets. So you're looking at clear €1,600 profit on 2 tickets.
So, I mean, I don't know, Robbie, if you'd off the top of your head, like, how many tickets do these ticket touts have even?
Well, I'd say ticket touts, they were only allowed 2 per sale on the pre-sale. But sure, if they're going to pay for a pre-sale code, get 2 per pre-sale, that's 300 quid to make 1,800.
Get the ticket out like that. They don't really go for the pre-sale kind of jazz. What they do is they do get the tickets, but like that, they probably have 5 or 6 people standing off. So like that, 5 or 6 people, they get 2 tickets a pop, and then they sell them off. And sometimes, don't get me wrong, sometimes they can't log them off. So like that, it is a risky game for them themselves, because puts and go for them as well. Sometimes they buy concert tickets, and the concert isn't a sellout.
Yeah, depends on the gig, doesn't it? But I mean, there's obviously a couple of bankers. Like, you would know U2, like, you would know U2 is going to sell out, and you would know that. I suppose that people will be travelling over from different countries to see them. That's just a banker, U2. But I get your point. Like, if it's someone else, if it's again like Little Mix, but then again, Little Mix and the likes is probably a sellout as well. But
it was, yeah, it was a sellout, yeah.
Yeah.
That's mad, Ashley. 900 quid each for a ticket.
I could not believe me eyes.
And did you just overhear the conversation or what?
I overheard. We were walking into the 3 Arena, and there was a tout, and they were negotiating the price, and he said, "No, I'm not budging. It's €900 a ticket. You either want them or you don't," and they paid for them. €900, and God knows, you see, the event itself, the general admission was ticketless. You had to scan your credit card. They probably ended up with the worst seats in the house for that price.
Yeah.
Because the only kind of hard copies or paper copies were the seating area. I know, because I was general admission myself. I was standing myself. So €900 a ticket.
You see, they're kind of vulnerable, because let's be honest, they're not going to go home to them. Like, if they came all the way over from America to Dublin for it, they're not going to go home empty-handed. You're pretty much there at that stage.
I know, but they knew what they were doing buying the tickets. And 100%.
And that's just a conversation you overheard as well. Like, I mean, you heard 900 quid, which is madness for one ticket, but maybe it could have been something. You know what I mean? Maybe someone else was selling them for €1,000 a pop or €1,100 a pop.
I wouldn't doubt it by any means. I wouldn't doubt it at all. If you go on to Ticketmaster, as they call it, their sister website, they're up for crazy money as well. absolute extortionate money. I don't actually even know how Seatwave or Viagogo are legal.
Yeah, I mean, especially via GoGo. I mean, like, it is legit because you do get the tickets. Like, it's not a scam. But, you know, but then again, look, no one's forcing you to pay. Like, when I paid hundreds upon hundreds for 2 tickets for Ireland against Sweden in Paris in the Euros, I mean, no one was forcing me to do that. You know, I did it myself, stupidly. I mean, look, don't get me wrong, we got the tickets. Ireland drew 1-1. Great experience. Probably should have won. But no one forced me, though, at the same time, Aisling.
Yeah, no, I do agree, but I just, they're saying every year in the Dáil they're going to make all this illegal. There's nothing been done about it. If you go to the likes of countries like Brazil, you're caught touting, you're in the slammer.
Oh, really? That's how serious they take it.
That's how serious touting is taken in some countries. Like, it's just now, I just think it's very unfair. I mean, I had family that wanted to go to that gig and had to travel up to Belfast because they couldn't get tickets down here. You know, and
I don't think it's a situation with the venue either, because obviously the Three Arena would not hold as many people as Croke Park, but even if it was Croke Park, it would still be sold out and some people would still be without tickets, so I don't think that matters. It did sell
out last year because I was at that as well.
Yeah.
No, it did sell out last year, and as far as I know it was the same rigmarole, crazy money. And I will say one thing, 90% of the audience in there on Tuesday night were American.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we're American, so the touts know what they're doing. They know that they're going to pay the money.
It takes a kind of a special kind of person really to do that, really, doesn't it? Like, I mean, again, like, fair enough, no one's forcing you to buy the tickets, but you do kind of have people over a barrel. And the story that Robbie said there about, you know, a mother and 2 children, it was a fake ticket, the kids are crying, and then when the ticket tout sees the kids crying, he doesn't see tears, he sees, you know, dollar signs.
Euro signs. They don't care. They don't care. They want their money. And if that's all they'll see, they'd know, as far as I'm concerned, they've no conscience.
Yeah.
Whatsoever. So people giving out about Facebook raffles, as the other chap on said, they're only making 100 or 200 quid. They're not banking up to the 1,000.
Yeah, in comparison, it's not the crime of the century in comparison to the touts, which at the moment isn't a crime, but certainly a lot of people want it to be. Listen, thanks for that, Aisling, Robbie and Lorraine. That's shocking, 900 quid for U2 as well. Can't say I'm a big U2 fan. I don't think I'd pay 900 quid for it, but again, what do? You came all the way over from America to Dublin. You're pretty much what are you going to do? Go back to the hotel room and just watch U2 gigs on YouTube? No, you're not. You're going to pay it, aren't you? Again, I remember getting tickets off a ticket house outside Goodison Park for a Merseyside derby for the Liverpool Everton match, and we paid a lot over the odds. I swear to God, it must have been the worst seat in the stadium, because Goodison Park, being quite an old stadium, hasn't been done up in years. They still have those massive pillars, and we were literally sat behind a pillar, or the pillar was in the middle of me and my mate, and we were in the Everton stand. So, and we're Liverpool fans, so we had to kind of zip up our jackets and not even celebrate when Liverpool inevitably won. But we paid over £100 each, and the ticket was like £45, £40, something like that. So, but again, look, no one forced us to pay it. You know, we were in Liverpool at the time. We thought, why not? Let's go for it. But you know, when you're talking about kids or tourists, then it's a little bit low when you think about it. 6797 F104. What's the most you've paid for a gig from a ticket house? And should ticket housing be illegal? Should they treat it like they do in Brazil and you just get carted off to prison? Right, coming up next, this message came in from Nicola yesterday. We just didn't get around to doing it. It's on the back of the news yesterday that Leo Varadkar wants hospital staff, whether it be doctors or nurses, to not take holidays over the Christmas and even into the first 2 weeks of January. This is what Nicola says, who is a nurse. She says, "Hi Keith, can you talk about the comments Leo has made about nurses like me being denied annual leave over the Christmas? I'm not sure if Leo is aware, he probably isn't, but our health service is at breaking point all year round, not just Christmas. I run off my feet 24/7. I'm being forced to do overtime that I don't want to do. I'm probably breaking employment laws by the amount of time I spend in the hospital where I work." And now he's coming out saying I'm not to take any leave over Christmas and not allowed to take any leave for the first 2 weeks in January too. This coming from a politician position that's off for half of the year. I love my job, but if I can't get even a couple of days off to see my family to rest for a few days, I'll break, and so will many other nurses and doctors. It's not as if the rest of the year is grand and then it's 2 weeks of mayhem in December. This isn't River Island. This is our failing health service. It would be great if Leo would understand that. We are flat out all year round. We are exhausted and we need some time off. Denying us this is just rubbing salt in the wounds of an already stretched workforce, says Nicola. So, should staff have the right to time off over Christmas in hospitals, doctors and nurses, especially considering the workload that they have to put up with, the long hours, the low pay, especially if it is nurses? Should they just be, given cut a bit of slack here? We all know our health services in bits and the frontline staff are at their wits' end. Should they just be treated better and be given time off over Christmas like anyone else in any other job? Is Leo right though? Do we need to sacrifice Christmas when it comes to the health service to deal with the huge demand? Because I suppose Christmas, even though hospitals, I suppose, are stretched most times of the year, I suppose Christmas is a little bit special. There's a lot of people off over Christmas. There's a lot of festivities going on, and there's lots of chances for accidents and the like. So it probably is a slightly busier time of year. Is that just something that comes with the territory, comes with the job? That if you're frontline staff in a hospital, you should just expect that you're not going to have a normal Christmas of having your 2 weeks off that a lot of people have over Christmas. But could it cost lives if they take time off? We've been told we're short-staffed as it is. Would it cost lives if the staff were given the time off over Christmas? 53104 for 20 cent, or 6797 F104, or maybe think it's very rich of Leo Varadkar, as Nicola points out, is a politician. He gets a lot of time off himself. Maybe it's a bit rich from what he said yesterday.
FM104 Phone Show
with Keith Ward. It's controversial. It's different radio for 2018.
FM104.
Someone says, how can an unelected Taoiseach make comments like that? Blame everyone bar the government. He should look closer to home, says someone on 53104. Leo Varadkar's comments about telling nurses and doctors that they can't have time off over the Christmas has not gone down well. Although some people have said online that, although it's unfortunate that that's the job that they signed up for, that if they're part of the frontline staff, they can't expect to have sociable hours and I suppose sociable holidays. But it does sound a little bit extreme, especially when you consider the workload and the stress that our frontline staff are currently under. Maybe it's just best practice to just kind of cut them a little bit of slack. I mean, they are people after all. 53104 for 20 cent is the number. Mick is on the line. Hiya, Mick.
How you doing, my friend?
What do you think about this, Mick?
An absolute disgrace.
Okay, right? Disgrace from Leo?
Yeah, big time.
Okay, tell us why.
Okay, he gave himself a nice big pay rise there recently. He gave all the other guys, all his cronies, as I call them, big pay rises. Okay, and here's the neck to ask people to do that. Well, the actual Dáil only works 156 days of the year. And with that money, he should be taking a cut by at least 70 or 80% of a cut in wage, not increasing. And they should be recruiting nurses. We train the best nurses in the world, and we're sending them abroad. I speak on good authority on that. I've a family not too far from where I live, very good friends with him. This man has 3 daughters, and the 3 daughters are highly qualified intensive care nurses, highly trained. Guess where they're working after they got their training done and dusted? In Tesco's.
God.
They can't get recruitment here.
And maybe they don't want to, but have they considered moving abroad? Moving abroad?
They tried. They've gone abroad and they're working now. Two of them are working in Perth and the other is working in Melbourne. And they said they'd never come back to this country. And by the way, I'd like to know, he's telling us what type of wages we have to take. Who's giving him the right to give himself big wages and all his cronies?
I mean, I'm certainly not denying, Mick, that the Taoiseach is on a lot of money. There's on more money than the President of the United States. I'm not denying that, but for everyone that kind of says, well, maybe the Taoiseach should take a wage cut or maybe the Taoiseach should do this and that, even if he does, it's not going to change the state of our healthcare. It would be a good gesture, but it doesn't.
They're all gangsters in it.
But it doesn't solve anything, though, either. Do you know what I mean? It'd be a nice gesture, but let's just say, for instance, the Taoiseach said, look, next year I'm not going to take any wages. I'm just going to do it for free.
It's not really.
Yeah, I know, but it's not going to really make a dent in in anything. It's not going to suddenly magically, solve the healthcare system or the homelessness crisis.
The health system is in crisis.
Yeah.
Right? And, instead of telling people to take time off, that's no problem. To take time, they're entitled to take the time off. No problem with that. But what he should be doing is recruiting our best trained nurses.
Yeah.
Right, he should be recruiting a massive recruitment.
I wonder is the money there?
Though? I'll tell you, we have more administration staff in the health service than we have bloody nurses.
Yeah, we see. I think that's more the problem, isn't it, Mick? It's
get rid of this.
It's the admin staff. It's the people who aren't frontline staff that seems to be, the inflation there, really, doesn't it? But I mean, I wonder though, is the money there? You'd wonder to hire more nurses and doctors, because if it is, then you'd imagine they just do it.
Well, the way I see it is get rid of half the administration staff. Down in Waterford Hospital, there's 5 managers for the one job. That's a joke, and they can't be sacked because they're civil servants.
Why would you say though, Mick? As you've been on before, you used to be in the army, Mick.
Yeah.
I mean, surely you know better than a lot of people that there are certain jobs that you sign up to that you just have to work on sociable hours, and
I agree.
When you're needed, you're needed. Is it just part of the gig to be a doctor or a nurse that you're just not going to get the standard holidays?
We should have the proper staff on board that when the people want to take holidays, they're entitled to take the holidays. We should have the staff to back it up. We should have it. We don't have it because they're too busy lining their own bloody pockets. All those cronies are.
So you don't buy
people need to do. No, I don't buy it.
You don't buy the excuse of it's part of the gig. Get over it.
No, as far as I'm concerned, they're entitled to their time off. Right? They pay taxes. Right? Big taxes they pay to keep those cronies up there with the high living. No, as far as I'm concerned, people should be on the streets now.
But they do I mean, you must admit, Mick, like Christmas especially, now I know again the health service all year round is in bits, but I suppose Christmas, given the fact that so many people are off, there's more chance of accidents. Christmas is a very busy time in a hospital, and they do a very important job, a job that none of us could do unless you're, specifically trained. So that's where some people think that, look, it is kind of part of the gig, and then maybe it's a bit much to think that you can get a week or two off at Christmas, especially when it's one of the busiest periods.
Yeah. Like, I work in security, okay? When I take my holidays, there's somebody there to cover. That's exactly the way it is. And it should be the same there. There should be people in rotation.
I know, I know what you mean. If it's a staffing issue, if they had enough staff, that this problem wouldn't arise. But I just wonder, do we have enough money then to be giving nurses and doctors more jobs? Because I know a lot of people would say, "Oh, of course we have the money," but I kind of think, well, if we do, then why aren't we using it for that purpose? Like, if it's blatantly obvious that we have a shortage of frontline staff in our hospitals, then you would imagine it just would be sorted by now. Because this isn't ideal, whichever way you look at it. Even for the people who think that, look, it's part of the gig. To be a nurse or a doctor, that you just have to work on sociable hours, and they can't think that you can get as much holidays back to back as most people. It's still not ideal. It's not an ideal situation. 53104 for 20 cents. Stick with us, Mick. I'm going to bring Eddie in. Hiya, Eddie.
Go on, Keith.
You're one of these people that thinks that, look, it is essentially part of the job. You're frontline staff, and you just have to suck it up.
I have a sister there now who's a nurse. Was whinging over there during the week about having to work over the Christmas. Now, she already had a 2 weeks holidays, you know what I mean? So I don't see what the big deal is when they take the holidays, when they take the 2 weeks holidays when they want. Then they get enough money as well because they've got a nice little pay rise there for themselves. So you sign up for these kind of things. That's the way it is, Keith. Christmas is the busiest time of the year for the guards, for the people in the hospitals, for most people, It's just you sign up for it. That's the way it is.
Can you see that, Mick? That's what they signed up for.
Yeah, maybe so. But what we should have is...
Like, Mick, you were saying there, you should see you want people out in the streets and all. For what?
For what? To get rid of the cronies up in the government. That's why.
But that's a different matter. We're talking about...
No, exactly. But what I want is, I want to see a full recruitment. Beds that are lying idle, open them up, that people will be off trolleys, and get more staff in there. I know people, as I said, that have gone over to Australia and everywhere, and I'd say there's a lot more in Ireland leaving because they...
But if that was the case, they'd do it. The country hasn't got the money.
Well, maybe if they stop taking big pay rises, they might have a few, Bob.
Yeah, I know, but they wouldn't, though. Like I do get it, Mick. Like, you know, again, like TDs, the Taoiseach, they're on maybe too much money. I agree with you, but even if they all just started to work for free next year, it wouldn't make much of a dent on the money that's needed. It'd be a nice gesture, but it wouldn't really solve anything.
No, like at the end of the day, Keith, you sign up for that kind. It's like when you're guard, you sign up for that. You know what I mean? You sign, like, for instance, there was a fella saying about a friend of mine. You know, he was saying when a guard walked into the house and there was body parts all over the place. Yeah, and he was fairly shook up about it. You know.
Yeah.
And a couple of weeks later, like, it's nervous breakdown. You know. But the people in the hospital, like, geez, they done a great job on him. You know what I mean? And now he's back to himself. Like, they are great people, but you sign up for these kinds of things, you know what I mean?
Well, I mean,
even my own sister now, I told her tonight, stop your old weeks during the week, I had a bit of a burn anywhere, you know? But yeah, I mean, you now, you had that 2 weeks, just get up and get over it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but surely she must be, surely she must be overworked. She must be stressed.
She does some hours, but she has a good life, do you know what I mean?
And so she
lives a good life.
And she's paid okay, because I mean
she's paid okay, yeah.
The perception that's been said before from numerous people, especially nurses, is that they're not paid enough. You're saying that they are, or at least your sister is.
Well, I mean, my sister is, and she has a nice house and a nice car, and you know what I mean. So I can't see what the problem is. Like, I mean, she goes on a holiday every year, and you know, she's living a nice, comfortable life. Now, the only thing about it is, Keith, she has to work, like, you know what I mean, all mad hours.
Yeah, but again, I mean, you can't be surprised. Yeah, I mean, I have a very good friend who's a guard, and he was working last Christmas Day. I think he was actually working last Christmas Eve as well. It was like a double shift, and I mean, he wasn't overly happy about it, but he wasn't moaning either, because that's a job you sign up for.
When you put the pen to paper and that's what you want to do in life, you have to make sacrifices, and those sacrifices are Christmas, Paddy's Day, things that celebration times, you know what I mean, when the Irish get drunk.
I know what you mean. I mean, no one signs up to be a guard, a nurse, a doctor, and thinking that they're only going to work 9 to 5.
Yeah, because they're not going to happen.
All right, well, let me take a quick break.
My sisters haven't done 23 hours.
Well, surely that's illegal, though. 23 hours.
Oh, it probably is, but you know, that's just the way it is. She has to stay when she's told to stay. She can't walk out.
All right, any nurses that can kind of back that up? Have you been working ridiculous hours? Like 23 hours sounds madness, and it doesn't sound safe either. I'm looking at all the texts coming in front of me here. Keith, most of the consultants have understudies to take over, but not the nurse. So someone on 5304. How about cut back on welfare and hire more doctors, nurses and consultants? Yeah, but there'd be uproar over that as well. People on welfare wouldn't be happy about it, and they'll say, why should we be punished for something that, you know, the government should be sorting? Someone else says, I work directly with A&E in a particular hospital and clear €410 a week. We work 50 hours a week, only get paid for 40. Get to the root cause, address that, and we wouldn't be required to work extra hours. Also, we only get 3 days off over Christmas, not 2 weeks. More money gets pumped into prisons than hospitals, says someone on 53104. Tell us as well then, you know, is the holidays that you're not getting, is that just to be expected? I mean, what happens most years? Again, like, no one signs up to be a nurse to work 9 to 5, but I mean, I suppose there has to be a bit of leeway there as well. I mean, you heard Nicola's mail. She's been told that she can't even take holidays off in the first 2 weeks of January. I mean, so when does this end? Every year does it just keep pushed out? That come March, you'll be finally be able to take holidays that you should have got in December. 6797 F104.
The FM104 Phone Show
with Keith Ward. It's controversial. It's different radio for 2018.
FM104.
Lots of texts actually coming in from people who work in the health sector, which I'll read out in a few minutes' time. But Mick, I want to put this text to you because it's actually probably a valid point. Someone says, hey lads, if you work in a hotel, you'll work Christmas Day and then get a day off in lieu, not double pay an extra day like the public sector. So I mean, there's obviously lots of other jobs out there, Mick, in the private sector who have to work over Christmas, and they're not moaning about it.
Yeah, I agree. But like I said, there's less staff in the health service. There's less nurses and doctors and everything. We're short big time of them. and we should be recruiting, so we wouldn't have that problem. But the governments don't want to donate it.
You get extra pay for working Christmas Day.
What, if you're a nurse or a doctor?
Nurse.
You get extra pay if you work Christmas Day, which, I mean, look, I don't think anyone has a problem with, but there seems to be a consensus that some, and probably not all, maybe not all hospital staff have a problem, but obviously some do, that they'll have to work Christmas Day or at least a number of days over Christmas without getting time off. That's the issue, though, Eddie. It's not necessarily the pay.
Yeah, like, don't get me wrong, I feel for them nurses and doctors and nurses. Like, they're a hard old job, but they're the people that look after us when we're sick, and I have to hold my hands up to them, because I was in hospital for 70 days, Keith, and it was 70 long days.
Yeah.
But see, the nurses and the doctors and all, they're the ones that got me through it.
Yeah. No, I agree. I was in A&E over the weekend with my shoulder, and I was in Beaumont Hospital. And I mean, look, the nurses and doctors, they were very polite. They were run off their feet.
They have to put up with, Keith. It's unbelievable.
Absolutely. So look, no one's doubting their commitment here, but I suppose it breaks down. Mick kind of seems to think, that they should be well entitled to time off. And then there's people like yourself, Eddie, in the text that I just read out there, that there's many people working jobs over Christmas, and they just expect it. Again, if you're in the hotel sector, that's obviously a busy time of year for the hotel sector.
I work in Dublin Gas, so I can't take a day off on Christmas Day. I'm on 24-hour call. So you could be working Christmas Day? I could be. There was one Christmas, a woman called Christmas Day, said there was a gas leak, went out, and it was a water leak. Right. Yeah. That's just the way it is. I think there you go, Mick. I mean, there's another example of someone else who has to work over Christmas.
Yeah, I'm not sure. What I'm saying is that there should be enough staff to cover. That if people want to take time off, they should be able to take it.
I know there should be, but there isn't. I know, but there isn't, though. I mean, you can say all day, and I agree with you, you can say all day, though, that there should be enough staff, but the bottom line is currently there isn't. One point I'd make you. There's 25,000 administration staff in the health service. There's 12,500 nurses. Where in the name of God do we get off on that? Yeah. But again, no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. But again, that's the current state that we're in. So there's no use at the moment saying that. Those cronies up in the door. But again, look, in fairness, in Leo's you seem to have an awful lot about them cronies up in the door. Yeah, gangsters. Would you sure come up and protest outside that door, Mick? I tell you, I have done it for over 11 years. I've been protesting for the father's rights so I can get access to my son. I got me access because I fought like a fucking tiger to get it. But in fairness, in Leo's defence, Mick, he didn't cause this problem. He inherited it. It's been going on for years. Well, he's not doing nothing to deal with it. He's just pushing the book up on the book. Well, he'll probably say that he is doing something to deal with it, that he's asking the staff not to take holidays over Christmas. That's how he deals with it. Why don't we ask him to volunteer his services over there to help out in the hospitals in A&Es over the Christmas? Why doesn't he do it as well? Well, he is a doctor, actually, isn't he? So maybe why didn't he get a Bobby's arse? But I mean, that's not his job, though, is it? Like his job is to lead the country and sometimes make unpopular decisions. This being one of them. He should lead by example. As an ex-military man, I know what I'm talking about. I was a sergeant instructor in the army, and I can tell you, I led by example. I never asked anyone to do something that I wouldn't do myself. But then again, as an ex-military man, I thought you might understand that there are certain jobs you sign up for that you kind of just have to suck it up. And I know that sounds harsh, but you didn't sign up for an office job to work 9 to 5 and have a couple of days over Christmas. You knew what you were getting into. Yes, but at least we had, at that time when I was in it, we had the manpower. Yeah, that everyone got a decent roster. But expect people just no nothing at all. End of story. There are women out there that are working, that have children at home, they do Santa with them and all that. That's ridiculous. All right, read it. This text is interesting text in from a doctor. I'm a paediatrician working in a Dublin hospital. I've never had more than 2 days off over Christmas. No doctor would ever expect 2 weeks off over Christmas. The feeling in hospitals at the moment is that we are laughing at Leo's quote. I finished call on the 24th this year and I'm back on call on the 27th of December. I'm delighted with that break. Most hospitals are staffed by non-Christian hospitals. by non-Christian hospitals over Christmas who gladly allow Irish Christians to be home on Christmas Day. We in turn ensure that they have leave for Eid, etc. It's tough, but the statement doesn't affect us. So someone who obviously isn't overly pissed off at Leo's quote, and which is kind of what I thought might be the feeling as well, that maybe not every nurse and doctor is annoyed over this. Maybe some of them just expect, well, look, that's the way it is. Maybe it's people being annoyed on behalf of nurses and doctors, but when you look into it, the nurses and doctors are actually okay with it. I mean, I'm still sure they'd probably rather have Christmas Day off, but they're not kind of chucking in their jobs over it. 53104 for 20 cents. Sean, hiya, Sean.
Hi there.
What do you want to say, Sean?
So, well, first of all, I'm actually a medical student, but
okay.
What I wanted to say to all of you guys was, I think that like doctors who have young children or nurses who have young children should be prioritized for particular, like, you know, holidays like Christmas Day or anything like that. They should be allowed to, and by the way, I don't have kids, I'm not saying it for me, but they should be the people who are prioritized to allow a bit of extra holidays, because they can take up the slack at another time when it's not as important for their kids. And I think that if we did have a bit of higher numbers of, you know, people in the careers, we could make that happen, and I think that's an important thing to mention.
And do you think people, say doctors who don't have kids, do you think they accept that? I mean, is that fair on them?
Oh, I do think that that's true. I mean, like, I mean, I'm only a student now, but I mean, I do a lot of volunteering as well, and I volunteer for the inopportune, like, you know, New Year's Day or Christmas Day, to let people that are volunteering with me have kids, because I think that's important. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And I don't think that, like, doctors in general, they have to sacrifice as part of their life. They have to do they have to, like, not go out on Friday or Saturday nights with their mates, you know. That's a natural part of the culture.
Yeah, you're well aware. I mean, like, Sean, even though you're a medical student, like, you know what you're getting into. I mean, it's not like you're going to start your first day as a doctor in a hospital and then suddenly realise, oh, what? I have no social life. Like, you know what you're getting into, and you're paid quite well eventually for it, especially as a doctor, I suppose. And I don't, to be fair, I don't think
I mean, I don't agree with the monetary position. I mean, there's plenty of people who have studied less hours or years than me that will be paid way more. So I don't agree with the monetary perspective, but that's not really why doctors do what they do.
No, of course not.
Like, I mean, like, when I become an intern, I'm going to be paid 30 grand a year.
Yeah.
That's after 5 years of training and all that kind of stuff, and you know, and I'm expected to do a lot more stuff. In fact, I'm expected to lie about my overtime so that I don't get paid too much. You know, so I don't agree with the idea that it's about money. Doctors don't get paid as much as people think until they become consultants. Yes, at consultant level, but before then, they're way less paid than most professionals.
What would be an average, say just for your average doctor in a hospital, not a consultant, what would be the average pay, roughly?
So about 50 grand, I think.
50 grand, okay. Which, I mean, look, isn't bad, but I haven't said that they work.
No, but it's not what people expect for a doctor.
Yeah, I know. People maybe have a perception that it's maybe 100 grand.
Yeah, that's not accurate at all.
Yeah. So are you? So how many years then do you have left then, Sean, before you're fully qualified and you can go into a hospital?
So I have about a year and a half left now to become an intern.
Are you? I mean, you must hear all the stuff that goes on and that's talked about in the media. Not this show, not just this show, but everything. And you must hear about the state of what our health system's in, and nurses and doctors overworked and the likes. And you're still prepared to get into that industry. That hasn't turned you off.
Well, no, because it's not about the pain of it. It's the talking. Like, I'm in a position where I get to meet new people every day, and I get to help them, and I get to learn about their lives, and I get to make their lives better.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can't fucking put sorry, I don't mean to swear. I know you're not supposed to swear on the air. But you know, you can't put a price on that, really. The more annoying thing for me is really that you are expected to keep up your training. Like, when I say 30 grand, I mean, most people will be able to take back some money for training a small bit. But I mean, one training session for 2 days would be €500 for me. You can get about $1,000 back in taxes,
right,
for training. But like, you're going to be spending about $4,000 or $5,000 on it that you have to just spend. So that's the thing that's more annoying for me. So what I would think would be a more beneficial conversation would be if Leo Varadkar was really honestly wanting us to stay in the country and really wanting us to work hard. Two priorities would be training to upkeep us, to make sure that we stay as we are, which is required, should be provided by the state. And the second thing would be that, we have staff levels that are high enough.
We
don't need large money, we don't need expenses, we need support.
Well, that's what Mick brought up about staff levels. In your opinion, finally, Sean, why don't we have the appropriate staff levels? Because is it a money thing? Because if it is, then surely...
No. Training.
In what way?
We don't have... Again, we have to have upkeep on our standards. So we have a wage, but you think that the wage is that level, but until you get to a consultant level, it's not high. But someone, say, not to pick anyone up, but say an administrative officer in the civil service gets about $30,000 a year, and all their training is paid for, and they get to go on things, and it's all paid for. Doctors would have to pay $5,000. Okay, they get $1,000 back, but that's $4,000 less for the same salary.
Right, I get you. So that's where the issue is.
$26,000 instead of $30,000. And the other guys get it free, we don't.
So is it just not that the money's there for the training, or what? It
should be. I don't know why it's not, but that's the issue that I think most doctors have is training and support.
Yeah.
Not having the numbers, not having the ability to train.
Because it just seems like
to maintain training.
It seems like a simple solution in some ways. Like, Sean, if you're saying that the problem is training, you kind of feel like going, well, then just train them, and then this could be sorted. So what is the problem? Is you don't have the money for training, or what is it? You just wonder, because this has been going round and round for years. I think
that it is probably that most of our training requirements require us, once we're established, to go abroad, to the UK mainly.
Yeah.
So we have to pay for hotels, we have to pay for all this other kind of stuff, because there's no training things to keep us up to date with what we're doing in
this country. Okay. All right, it just seems
it's not just the training session, it's also the hotels and the travel and all that we don't get compensated for.
It just seems to be no answer to this. It seems to be going around for years, like back to the Mary Harney days when she was Minister for Health, and then James Riley and everyone else. It seems to be just going around and round and round. There's always issues with the health service. It just never ends. And you just,
honestly, I think it is honestly just training, and I think it is literally the second that we realise that you need to put money in, not just to training doctors to become doctors, but you need to put money into training doctors to stay doctors. Because there's legal requirements to maintain your standards.
Yeah, sure, in case anything goes wrong. All right, listen, thank you for that, Sean, and listen, I wish you all the best with your future career, and fair play. All the best, Sean. Thank you for that. 53104 for 20 cents. Fair play to him. Listen, I wouldn't do the job. Even for $100,000, I wouldn't be doing that. But as you heard there, Sean has certainly no problems with what's ahead of him. Lack of social life. I used to go to school with someone who's now a doctor, and I haven't seen them in about 3 years. I know mates who'd be closer with them, and they've asked them out on numerous occasions in the past, and they either cancel or they can't do it, and it just seems like they just literally sacrificed every bit of social life that they have for that gig. So you'd want to be really into it, wouldn't you? And let me see, doctors are too underrated and are not contracted to work the 140 hours a week they often do. God, 140 or 40 hours. Doctors paid less than banking staff, local government, civil service, Lewis drivers, and less than the HSE and inept civil servants that are paid, says Andy. Most people who work shifts in the HSE, like myself, rotate working Christmas and New Year, work Christmas one year and the New Year the next. That's the fairest way. And social care workers do 24-hour shifts. I'm doing one now. I'm doing 6 this month. This is normal practice. The thing is, I don't see any politician giving up their long summer break that they get. It was such a flippant comment to make. So if all medical staff work over Christmas, does that mean people waiting for procedures, etc., will get seen soon sooner? I don't think so, someone says. Keith, I think the solution to the nurses' crisis is to employ more care attendants in the hospitals, not nurses. That's not a bad idea. I mean, in practice, I know if it would work, but it's not a bad suggestion. And then loads of other people. I work in a supermarket and we are never allowed to take holidays in December. We're open all over Christmas, says someone else. And lots of people talking, Keith, most consultants have understudies to take over, but not for nurses. And lots of ideas of how we can cut down on the expenses and put it towards someone else. Look, I don't think there's some magic bullet here. Everyone's going to bring it up about, well, TDs, Taoiseach, everyone else should take pay cuts. Even if they did, it wouldn't make much of a dent. Like, I mean, we're talking to the tune of billions here that would sort out the health service. It's not, it's not a couple of million that would be saved by Taoiseach salaries and the likes. Finally, I'm a nurse manager in Tala Emergency Department. I've been at Tala Hospital since 2002. Nurses have never been able to take holidays over Christmas or New Year as long as I can remember. That's the way it's always been. I think staff are just pissed off at Varadkar's comments because they're overworked and feel unappreciated. We don't moan about having to work over Christmas. It just comes with the job, unfortunately. Lots of other people work over Christmas too, which we found out tonight. A lot of people standing in their occupations. And a lot of people in FM104 as well work over Christmas, should be said. DJs and the likes, but not talk show hosts, thankfully. So I get off scot-free on that one. Coming up next, this is something that we spotted today, and I just think, in my humble opinion, I think this is absolutely bonkers, to be honest with you. But maybe it is the sign of the times, because a new survey by the ERSI on growing up in Ireland, is what the survey is called, has revealed that 23% of 9-year-olds, listen to this, 23% of 9-year-olds have a social media profile. It's also revealed that parents reported having rules to manage their 9-year-old screen time, including rules about content, time spent on devices, and time that the child uses the device. Now, some of the comments online in reaction to this claim that even if parents banned children from being on social media, that children would still find a way around it, and that in 2018 that it's just the way it is, that children are more online savvy these days than the previous generation. I ask you, is that not the laziest excuse you've ever heard of? I mean, if you're allowing your 9-year-old, like, think for a second, a 9-year-old on social media to have a social media profile, whether it be Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, you name it, a 9-year-old, is that not lazy parenting? And to just turn around and say, well, look, they're going to get their hands on it eventually. You know what kids are like when it comes to technology. I mean, who pays for the Wi-Fi? Who pays for the smartphone that you gave them, or the tablet? You did. So maybe parents need to be parents here and sort the situation out, because I think you'll agree, it is just not acceptable, surely, for a 9-year-old to be on social media. I mean, certain adults can't even control themselves on social media, let alone a 9-year-old. And when we looked into the study a little bit more, the larger percentage of kids on social media were girls. Boys were more using it for gaming and the likes. It was more so girls that were on social media, and I suppose could be prey to pedophiles or people out there, who have intentions to groom children over the internet. That's what we're dealing with here. These are the stakes. And yes, 23% of 9-year-olds out there have social media profiles that either the parents don't know about, but the parents should certainly know about. And I mean, I'm just putting it out there. Who's dictating the terms here? Is it the children or is it the parents? Maybe you do allow your 9-year-old or your 10-year-old or your 11-year-old to have a social media profile. But I'll ask you, why? Do you monitor it? Are you there when they're on it? Do you check their browsing history and all that sort of stuff? Or do you just leave them to it? Or is there a bit of truth in what some people are saying, that it is just a sign of the times? It's 2018 and everyone's on social media now. Everyone knows how to use smartphones and tablets, and especially kids. And that we've now kind of, opened this Pandora's box that we can't close again. 6797 F104. We're talking about that next.
The FM104 Phone Show.
With Keith Ward. It's controversial. It's different radio for 2018.
FM104.
We're talking about this is not the laziest excuse I've ever heard for parenting, that children are just going to find their own way of getting on social media anyway, and there's nothing that you can do about it. And sure, look, you know more than us when it comes to technology, so look, that's the way of the world. Is that not just the laziest excuse ever? 23% of 9-year-olds in this country have a social media profile. I mean, am I the only one here that think that's a bit unacceptable, a bit bonkers, that 9-year-olds have social media profiles? And one of two things are happening here. Either parents know about it and they're obviously okay about it, or parents don't know about it. But either way, it's still a bit of a problem. If you don't know about it, well, you should probably make it your business to know about it. 53104 for 20 cent. Who is ruling the roost here? Who is dictating the terms? Is it children or is it parents? Or maybe you do think it is the sign of the times that kids now younger than ever know how to use iPads and tablets and smartphones, and it's just the way it's going to be from now on, that kids will be on social media and the internet a lot younger these days, and that anyone has a problem about it is just, I don't know, outdated. 53104 for 20 cent. Joe, hiya Joe.
How you doing, Keith?
Joe, a 9-year-old on social media, is that acceptable in your book?
No. Definitely not.
It's not a mine either, to be honest with you. I'll be shocked. 23% of 9-year-olds in this country have a social media account.
And I would blame the parents on that. Because basically it's every time that the parents, whatever keeps the kids quiet, stops the kids from moaning to a parent, the parent just lets it happen. And it's until something actually happens to the kid, or when it's close to something happening, then the parents get involved. But no matter what you say on it, you hear it all the time. Oh, my kid's safe, nothing will happen to them, blah, blah, everything else. And then all of a sudden, when something happens, then something gets done about it. You've got the prime example with all the school kids and all the bullying. If they weren't allowed on it, it probably wouldn't be half as bad with suicide.
Yeah, I agree. I 100% agree, because back in the day, if you got bullied in school, once you went home and went to your house, then the bullying was over. They couldn't get at you. Now they can get at you 24/7.
Exactly. And, I mean, the parents have a big role in this. Like, I mean, the parents have, how would you say, the parents should be controlling what they do. I mean, do the parents, like, if a 9-year-old was going to go around and carry a knife, would the parents let the 9-year-old go around the streets with a knife, a pocket knife, pen knife, or anything? No, they wouldn't.
Like, I mean, good point, Joe. I kind of always compare like the internet to kind of nearly a place or a location, because so much goes on there. And I don't know about you, but I wasn't allowed, say, so I live in Clondalkin, and it's quite a distance from Clondalkin to town, and I wouldn't have been allowed to get a bus into town by myself, or even with my friends, until I was about 13 or 14, maybe even older, because my mum and dad didn't know what went on there, didn't know where it was going to be going. Can you not apply the same thing to the internet? I think the 23% of 9-year-olds that are on social media, I think the parents of those 23% would not allow their 9-year-old to go to a place that they don't know anything about, like, you know, that they don't know where the building is, who's going to be there, is it going to be supervised, is there going to be adults at it, yada yada yada. So why would they allow their children on the internet and talk to complete strangers and do whatever the hell they want just because they happen to be doing it in their own home? I think it's the same thing.
Well, it is, exactly. And it's down to parents being basically lazy pigs. That's basically it. Now, I mean, mind you, I had a friend who had a Facebook page which was told to block it, whatever, and he ended up setting up a new profile and everything else. But at the same time as well, is you've got all these billion-dollar companies that are making tons of money out of it. Tons of money. And there is ways and means of actually preventing all this from kids to be getting on it. But the only thing that they do is, all they seem to do is put terms and conditions on it. That's all they seem to do.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can put up fake profiles, fake ages, fake this, fake that. I mean, you've got the likes of Facebook. Facebook can actually turn around and deal with, say, if you want to register with this, show me your details.
Yeah.
Create a profile, but you need identification to actually join it.
Yeah,
like anything else.
I think Facebook is 13. I think is the but all you have to do is go on and click your date of birth and to a 13-year-old and off you go. Like, they don't check anything.
Is it 13 or is it older?
No, I'm nearly sure it's 13. I'm open to correction. If anyone wants to text me in on 53104, I'm nearly sure it's 13.
Well, I mean, okay, here's the snag for you, right? When you're signing up for the terms and conditions on a legal status, you have to be over 18 to sign up for a contract.
Yeah.
It's basically what you're doing when you're signing up to Facebook.
Yeah.
So when you're signing up to a contract with the terms and conditions and things like that, you have to be over 18. Right? Now, if you're signing up for anything else between bank accounts, bills, or anything like that, you have to be over 18. Sometimes you have to show identification.
True.
Right? So when it comes to Facebook or on the phone or anything like this, there should be identification held over if you're selling it to an underage person. Same way as like when you're going in for a tattoo or anything like that, you have to show identification if you're underage.
Yeah, no, I get you.
The reason with the tattoo parlour won't do anything with anybody under 16, because they have to have parents' permission. Why? Because the parents have to be taking the responsibility of anything that happens to that kid.
So what is it? Is it just idiot parents? Like, are these people just idiots? Like, allowing your 9-year-old on social media?
Well, see, I put it down that both parties have a responsibility of it. Both of them. And, I mean, you have, as I said, the parents have one responsibility. The parents are letting the kids sign up to something that they don't fully understand. And once it's unlocked to a fake age, the kids have access to everything. It's like having a video shop or anything like that. You know, a video shop would not let a kid come in and buy, rent DVDs or anything like that.
Yeah, no, I get you. You can literally do anything you're into. You can literally do what you want on the internet,
exactly.
And you're allowing a 9-year-old to do it. I think it's absolutely bonkers, and I think it's idiotic parenting. It's either ignorant parenting, as in they don't know enough about it, but they probably should, or it's idiot parents.
Yeah, but see, on the same side is you have these companies that have the technology, the means, the resources to stop all this. Why won't they stop it? Because there's too much bleeding money to be made for them. You look at half the population of the world, I'd say, are kids that have these phones.
Yeah, but who's buying the phones, though, Joe? Do you know what I mean?
The parents are buying the phones, that's one. Two, the companies can put things in place to prevent it. Now, the thing about it is, the companies have so much money to back up stuff with legal jargon and prevent themselves from getting into trouble. But yet, they won't put their money in to stop the kids getting onto this yoke. Why? Because there's too much money to be made on it.
No, I agree with you, but I think then we're still letting parents off the hook. Like, regardless whether, Facebook or whoever is backed up with billion-dollar companies and they can hire the best solicitors, whatever, to get around legal jargon, still, the responsibility should still rest with the parents. Like, the parents are the people closest to the children here. And we had someone on air before, and I just thought, I wasn't buying it whatsoever. This woman came on and she was saying that, well, look, I think her child was 10, and she was saying that my child has an iPad and they're on Facebook and the likes, and I said, why are you allowing that? And I said, well, look, all his friends are on it and I can't stop him, you know what I mean? He knows more about it than ourselves. And I felt like going, absolutely you can stop them. He was paying for the internet. Just unplug the bloody Wi-Fi. Who bought him the iPad in the first place?
Okay, well, here's one factor in it, right? You look at anybody that had a child that committed suicide, and I guarantee you that when they turn around and they say it wouldn't happen to my child or this, that, and the other, I guarantee you they'll turn around and say now that they're sorry that they didn't monitor, they're sorry that they didn't get them, they got their phone, they're sorry that they gave access to it, they're sorry that they didn't investigate it a bit more.
Yeah.
After losing their child from the likes of bullying.
I know what you mean. Especially when you're dealing with very young children, there probably is regret there. And I wasn't gonna go here, but Joe, as soon as you brought it up.
Well, here's the other thing, Keith. Here's the other thing, right? Also, they had access to that guy that done this game, the Russian lad with what was it called? That
Chat roulette.
What's it?
Chat roulette.
Yeah. And now your man, I don't know what way your man is getting done. Like, I mean, you can put it down as, should he be done for murder? Should he be done for manslaughter? Should he think? I don't know. Technically, no, because it wasn't his responsibility, but he put it as a so-called a game up.
Yeah, I know.
He convinced him on it, but at the same time, he was responsible for it. Are the parents going to put their hands up and take blame for their kids that killed themselves over it?
Well, I mean, as I said, Joe, I wasn't going to bring this up, but anytime we talk about this subject, what always kind of comes to mind, but since you kind of touched on it, I don't know if you remember a very high-profile case, probably about 3 years ago, up in Donegal. There was two sisters from the same family took their own lives because of bullying, and in the space of only a couple of weeks. Now, don't get me wrong, an absolute tragic situation for everyone involved, must be said. But the one question that I wanted asked about it, so effectively, I think that the first sister, I think it was about 13 or 14, and she was being bullied online, she's being hounded online, and unfortunately she took her own life. And then, so when that happened, I don't know about you, what your response would be, Joe, but if that happened, I would cut off all internet access in the house forever, because I just wouldn't want to even go down that road again. And yet the second sister, a couple of weeks later, or maybe a month or so later, got back online herself. I think she was a little bit older, she was 2 years older, and then she started getting bullied online, and then she took her own life. And I felt like going, are we not asking the question here of why the parents in this situation just didn't pull out the Wi-Fi and the internet and every bloody tablet or device in the house and just put it in the bin? Because I wouldn't want to risk that again. Do you know what I mean?
Well, on the second part, I would say on that then is that, okay, the forced suicide part of it, the parents probably didn't understand what was going on.
Sure, yeah, I accept that. Yeah.
Now, but the parents should take the blame for the second one, because they didn't monitor it, they didn't check up on it, they gave full access to it. So the parents had a responsibility.
Now, look, I'm not saying that the parents should take full blame for their two children taking their own lives, but I was conscious that no one was asking that question, Joe, at the time. No one was asking.
I would actually hold the parent responsibility. Why? Because it's the parents' duty to keep the kids safe in the first place.
Like, I mean, again, to compare, before I go to Tina in a second, I mean, again, to compare the internet to a location or a place, if your 13-year-old child sadly died through an accident or was murdered at a particular, say, park, let's say, I don't know, the Phoenix Park, a month later, you wouldn't be allowing your 14 or 15-year-old other daughter to go back to the Phoenix Park, would you? Of course you wouldn't. Do you know what I mean? Because you would be like, no, God, no one's gone there again because of what tragedy happened. You wouldn't allow your second daughter to then go to exactly the same place, you know, where your previous daughter was bullied to death. You just wouldn't allow it.
Well, I would actually class that as negligence on the parents' side of it. I would actually class that as negligence. The parents had a care of duty to their kids. Okay, it happened to the first parent, a first child. So we should have opened the parents' eyes 20 times wider to make sure that it didn't happen to the second kid.
No, I agree. I mean, I look at it, I hate sounding like I'm sticking the boot in on a family here who obviously went through a horrific tragedy, not just one daughter taking her life, but two. But surely after the first daughter took her life through being bullied online, the last thing you would do is allow your rest of your children to go back online themselves to be bullied again. It just beggars belief here, to be honest with you. And I suppose that's what we're getting at here. Is it grossly irresponsible to allow a 9-year-old to have a social media account? Because apparently there's 23% of 9-year-olds in this country that do. 53104 for 20 cents. Stick with us, Joe, and a lot of people texting in agreeing with Joe as well. Let me see. I totally agree with that man. Parents, once they're not in their way, says Mario. Well, I suppose, once they give them a tablet and they're on their way, they're happy enough with that. Tina, I'm going to take a quick break if you don't mind just waiting over the break there, Tina.
No problem.
You have a 13-year-old. Okay. 6797 F104. Quick break.
FM104 Phone Show.
With Keith Ward. It's controversial. It's different radio for 2018.
FM104.
Before we get to Tina, some of your comments on this. Rory says, don't agree with kids having social media accounts, but wouldn't call it bad parenting either. Just think let them be kids for a few more years. Well, surely it is bad parenting. Like, I'm sorry, if you're allowing your child, especially a 9-year-old, to be on the internet and social media where they're exposed to violence, porn, bad language, everything that comes with the internet, the bad of the internet, and of course, yeah, the good, but there's a lot of bad that comes with the internet. Is that not the definition of bad parenting? You're supposed to be protecting your kids from that, so allowing them to do so is bad parenting in my book. Derek says, if parents are allowing their young kids to have social media accounts, the account should be set up by the parents and can be only accessed using the phone of the parent or any other computer when the parent is there. Again, though, is that just facilitating a child? Like, why? Like, I mean, a child doesn't have to have a social media account, so why would you go to the effort of setting one up for them and trying to control it yourself? Because eventually what they're going to do is they're going to get pissed off. It's like you're just feeding them kind of a drug and trying to control it, but eventually you're just going to get pissed off of you controlling it. They'll either go up, set one up themselves, or try to get access to the account somewhere else. You're just feeding it, basically. Breda says, 9 is far too young. They're still kids. They don't need social media at that age. No, they don't. Why would a 9-year-old need social media at that age? 53104 for 20 cents. Tina, hiya, Tina.
Hi, how are you?
Sorry for keeping you waiting, Tina. You have a 13-year-old.
Yeah, I have a 13-year-old.
And is your 13-year-old on social media?
Nope.
Okay, even though, as far as I'm aware, they can be on Facebook. That's the terms and conditions of Facebook.
Well, I'm on Facebook myself, and I can tell you some of the stuff I come across on Facebook isn't suitable for 13-year-olds.
Yeah. And like, to be fair, even though 13 is the age that you're allowed, the terms and conditions of Facebook, it obviously isn't the terms and conditions of you, the parent. I mean, that's what's important to point out here. Like, regardless what Facebook thinks, it's your bloody decision. You're raising your child.
Hold on, I'm the carer of my children, not Facebook or anybody else. I am.
Yeah.
And I decide what's suitable for my children, not anybody else. I decide that. And because I'm on Facebook and see what does be on Facebook, it's not suitable for him. So he's not going to be on it. And I don't think he's losing out in any way, shape or form. He's still allowed to use the tablet here if he needs to do something for homework or whatever. But
fair enough.
He comes down to the kitchen table where I can keep an eye on him to do the homework that he needs to use the tablet for.
Yeah. And does he want a social media profile?
No, because that's what you never had. You know what I mean?
But I mean, are his friends on social media?
Yeah, most of his friends would be on social media, but
so he doesn't fear missing out then?
No. Don't get me wrong, he's asked me can he go on it, and I've explained to him no.
So in your mind then, Tina, what's an appropriate age then?
My eldest son wasn't on it until he was 15 going on 16.
Yeah.
And he's at no disadvantage from not having it,
like he's still able to walk around and hold conversations with people, and he still has one head, 2 arms and 2 legs. He's not affected whatsoever by the fact he wasn't on social media. See, this is what I mean. Like,
he didn't lose out on friends because he wasn't on social media. He didn't affect it in any way, shape or form that he wasn't on it. Like, he's still the average, but he's nearly 19 now. Yeah. He's still the average 19-year-old. Like,
I know, this is what I mean. There was a mother on air, again, I think it was a 10 or 11-year-old, and Tina, the way she was making it out was that the child was going to have some adverse, health implications if her child wasn't on, social media or didn't have access to the internet. She kept saying, well, they have to. It's 2018 now. It's the way of the world. And I kept saying to her, no, your child doesn't have to. It doesn't. Yeah. It's not a requirement of being a child.
I've noticed now, at family gatherings, we'll say the younger children, and their faces are stuck in their phones all through the day, and when you try to have a conversation with them, they don't really know how to have a conversation with you, because it's always text messaging and all this that they're at, so they don't actually know. They've lost the ability to communicate personally with people, because their faces are always in their phones. So if anyone's losing out, it's the ones that are stuck on social media constantly.
Well, it's not really a surprise. I mean, look, I've been accused by the other half on many occasions of being glued to my phone, especially Twitter. You know what I mean? So if adults are doing it, certainly kids are doing it, but the difference is, at least I've had about 18 years of my life where I wasn't consumed by it, so I can still hold a conversation with someone. So I've been trained in social skills, and now I can afford to throw those social skills to the side and be glued to my phone, but a child can't.
As well as that, you have more life experience.
Yeah.
9-year-olds and all that, they don't have enough life experience to come across what you come across on social media and to be able to cope with it. They just don't have the life experience. And then parents should know at this stage how many groups is there like for predators and all this, like. Yeah. And they're letting their 9-year-old sons and daughters on these sites, like, and you know, there's predators out there, like.
Let me add, before we go to Aaron in a second, who kind of doesn't really see it as much of a big deal, or kind of basically says, look, it's a sign of the times. What do you make of what Joe said there? Joe's still there. Joe kind of reckons if your child was being bullied and your child eventually, sadly, ends up taking their own life or self-harms, that the parent should be held responsible in some ways for allowing their child on the internet in the first place and not monitoring what's going on. What do you think about that, Tina? Is that a bit too harsh, or is he correct?
No, he's correct. If you're doing your parenting job properly, first of all, they wouldn't be on the internet at a young age, but if they are on the internet or on social media, you should be monitoring it very carefully. You should have their passwords, you should have everything, and if you want to look through their social media at any given time, your child should give you the phone or whatever it is to look at. They should have that on the phone that Joe want the parents to see.
The other thing that I want to say about it is that on this Facebook thing, you can have stuff that should be only viewed for 18-year-old content. So anything that's on that should be 18 years of age. Now, when you have a kid that's on that's 9, 10, 11, 12, they're not fully developed to start thinking and making right decisions. Which means whatever goes on to the likes of these sites, they're not, how would you say it? They're not able to think straight.
Yeah, I know what you mean. They're not consuming it in the same way that we would.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you would have a kid that's on there, and whatever grabs their mind or their head, and even with suicide and things like that, you would have a kid that doesn't know whether it's right from wrong. And this is the other thing, and I actually just checked up the times there. In 2004, Facebook was actually set up for 18 years, and it had been changed from 18 down to 13.
Yeah.
Now, the way I would look at it is Facebook are actually wrong in actually changing the years. And I think that they should actually bring that back up to 18, because the content that does beyond that is only suitable for 18 years or over.
Well, look, I mean,
or at least 16 years and over.
Joe, you'd want to see the pictures and videos that get sent into the FM104 Phone Show Facebook page. You want to see, actually, even yesterday, we actually had it taken down, which is ironic in some ways, considering, some of the stuff that's left up on Facebook. There was a video that was sent in to us. We put it up on Facebook only yesterday to kind of expose this person. It was a man who was masturbating in public at a Dublin bus stop. Now, you could tell what he was up to, Joe, but you couldn't actually see anything, if you get me. And that was removed by Facebook in about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But yet they allow all the other shit that's on there, and kids are looking at it.
But do you think it's right? And I'd like to know, if you were to email Facebook and turn around and say to them, do you think it's fine for content to be shared to 18-year-olds? I guarantee you, or 13-year-olds, and I guarantee you will get up some content that will be on that Facebook that you would think that it could be on a movie, it could be on the... And here's another thing, right? You might have a film, footage, clip or anything like that would be only available on a DVD or a film that would only be suitable for an 18-year-old, that the film industry would class it as being 18 years of age suitable. And I guarantee you Facebook still have that on their website, that they say it's all right for a 13-year-old to view. I guarantee you, if that's the case, why don't you actually write an email to Facebook and ask Facebook, if you think it's all right for that content to be on it, why do you think the film industry have it that it's only suitable for an 18-year-old or a 15-year-old to watch it, and you have a class as being accessible from a 13-year-old. Do you not think Facebook is breaking the law there?
Do you think you get a response from Facebook? Somehow, I doubt it. Listen, I want to bring Aaron in. Aaron, hiya.
All right, keep going, man.
Aaron, what age are you, Aaron?
22.
22. Okay, so you pretty much grew up then with social media, especially through your teenage years.
Yeah, well, I would have been on Facebook when I was about, I think, 10 or 11 when I first made my profile anyway.
Okay. And did your parents know that you were on it?
Yeah. And I would have been on Snapchat then shortly after that as well. Snapchat was kind of the bigger thing. It's not really Facebook now so much. It's
true.
Kind of Snapchat now as well. Like.
Yeah. And you know, it shouldn't be forgotten about Instagram as well, which is where a lot of teenagers are getting, you know, different body perceptions. They're seeing these gorgeous people on Instagram and they think that that's the way they should look.
Yeah, like a rundown of it, like most of the fucked up stuff you'll see is on Facebook, and then you have Snapchat. It's just all for, you know, more less like news and stuff like that, and then Instagram is just not so much news, like, but like it kind of is as well, like. But I mean, like, they're gonna like it doesn't matter. You could be the strictest parent in the world or whatever. Like, it's still not gonna. They still won't stop them. Like, they'll either get a spare phone. They'll give a phone to hand up to you. You know, they're gonna get on it through mates' phones as well. Like, I mean, everyone has a phone. Everyone's gonna be able to get one. So, like, that's just the way it's gone. Like, that's just. So
it's not necessarily the parents' fault. It's just that they can't keep up with it.
No, like, because they can't. Like, you know what I mean? It's a new age, sort of thing. Like, smartphones are just easy to get. You don't even need a smartphone. Like, all you need is a laptop. You can get anything. You can use it on anything. Like, you know what I mean? Smartphones are real cheap as well. I mean, everyone has like iPhones and stuff, but like, they're cheap to get. Like, it'd be easy to fool them on that. Like if I was asked for it, like back then or whatever, I would just hand up a different phone. Like, they're not gonna know anything. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're not gonna turn around and say, "Oh, right, Graham, well, we have hold them now," whatever. Like,
yeah, you could just if you knew you were going to be asked for your phone, you could just delete the Facebook app.
Like, what I had to do, I remember what I done was I actually didn't have access to the internet or anything like that. When I was 10 or 11, so what I actually would have done was I actually used to use my mate's phone. I created a Facebook account off my mate's phone, and then I was just using it off that. You know what I mean? Like, that was before I managed to actually save up and get a phone or whatever. But like I said, there is ways around it. Like, it doesn't, like, it's easy to fool your parents. Like,
so there you go, Tina. That's what you're up against, really. Aaron reckons is 22 years of age. Reckons that there's no way around it now.
I didn't quite hear what Aaron was saying there, Keith.
Well, he basically said he had a Facebook profile when he was 11, 12. He's now 22, and that there's no way around it. That kids will always find a way to get an extra smartphone, go over to their mate's house. If they got a laptop, a tablet, anything, that kind of almost like the horse is bolted now.
And I can see that point as well, but at least if you're not letting it go on in your own home, it's very limited. Like, it's
but like I said, like, you can tell.
But they can't be on it as much and all. And I understand kids can be sneaky and they can do stuff like that. But if you're not letting it go on in your own home where your child spends most of their time, at least it's limiting what they can do. And
I understand that, but like, I mean, like, another thing as well, once your child or whoever it is, teenager, gets a sniff of the internet, I tell you, they won't, like, they will always be on it. And it's actually worrying now, type of stuff that will be on it. Like, it's just, I mean, Facebook is just, I don't even know how some things on Facebook are even legal. So I mean, it's actually worrying. Like, I'm seeing videos, like I used to see videos when I was like 11 or 12, heads being fucking cut off and people being shot. Like, this is fucking, like, this is, you can, faces and everything. Like,
yeah, I remember
badly.
And even to this day, do you know what, I don't have an answer for you why I watched it, but I remember about 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, watching one of those ISIS propaganda videos on Twitter. I don't ask me why I clicked on it. It was one of those things going to, I want to watch this, and for some reason I did, and it was, look, I wouldn't even go into detail. It was absolutely horrific. But look, if I can watch that as an adult, a child can.
Yeah, but that, like that's what I'm saying, and they're getting younger and younger. I mean, like, there's kids like that are fucking nearly, 7 and 8. They're walking around with iPhone X's. Like, that's just the way it's gone. Like, and it's just a normal thing now. I mean, like, everything has gone up the internet. The internet is the way to go, and that's.
Yeah, but see, the part that I have the problem with is that the parents are responsible for that. Because if you actually read the terms and conditions of the phones are over 18. So who's responsible for the child? The parent. It doesn't matter what you think. If you're caught with a phone, the parent has to take responsibility for the legal actions that come through on it. And that's
I understand that. Yeah, and I understand that, but we're gone past like the point of being able to even do that now. I mean, like
no, we're technically we're not. Technically, we're actually not, because if they wanted to stop it, they could actually stop it.
I just think there isn't really a way around it, because like you'll see kids, teens, like their phones are always in their hand, like it's their life. They're living and breathing the internet. It's like second nature. Like that's what people are doing. Like.
Yeah, but see, what could happen there is that if you really wanted to activate a phone, and if they wanted to actually start bringing in more stuff on this, they could actually say that in order to activate a phone with all this high technology on it, they could get the parents to activate it, or people that have to have identification to activate it, which would actually...
I know, but sure, all I have to do is bring my phone into some dodgy shop in town if I was a kid, which they're around everywhere, every single corner, and they'll just knock that off for me. Do you know what I mean?
See, that's the thing, isn't it?
Just people are always going to be in the way of that. There's people, you think you might have an idea, but there's always going to be somebody in front that doesn't give a shit, that will just do it for you.
I mean, it's similar in some ways to underage drinking, really, isn't it? Like, I mean, we all know the legal age is 18, but if you want to get your hands on drink and you're a teenager, you'll find some way of doing it.
Exactly. But you're always going to find that fella outside the shop. Like.
No, but see, here's the thing, right? You buy a car can be tracked down. There's always somebody responsible to a car. Am I right?
Yeah, that's true, but there's so many smartphones, though, Joe. Like, there's so many smartphones. Like, if I do get your point, but let's just say an apocalyptic point of view. If every 13 or 14-year-old had a dodgy car, you wouldn't be able to control that. You wouldn't be able to track down enough of them. Same thing goes for the phone.
Okay, well, here's a prime example. You buy a bill phone off a company, off Vodafone. In order for you to get that unlocked, you have to finish a contract on it. They have everything, all the details of the phone.
No, when you buy a bill phone, actually, you don't have. No, you can. Like a bill phone is SIM locked. You need identification.
Yeah, exactly. So who unlocks that phone?
No. Sorry. Like I meant, the bill phone is unlocked. Like you only need like an ID to actually get it. No one's using bill phones. They're using like a pre-pay SIM where they're just going along with it.
So it's like pay as you go, basically.
Yeah, so like I don't even need an ID to buy a phone. I just need a bit of cash, and like top it up every now and then. Do you know what I mean? Like, or just like as I said, there's ways around everything. Like,
okay, can I ask you a question, Aaron? Yeah, Aaron, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
How much do you understand about technology?
Everything. Well, most of it. Like not going into like too much about it, but like I have a fair amount. Like I have a fair idea. Like.
Okay, would you know the technical end of it?
As in which, like, what sort of technical end of it, like?
How the actual phones work and things like that in IT related or...
No, well, I don't know anything about that.
Okay.
I know ways around things.
Okay, who unblocks the phones when you buy it off a bill phone?
What do you mean, like?
You buy a bill phone on an 18-month contract or anything like that, and the phone is locked to that provider, am I right?
Phone, yeah, no, any phone I bought on like a bill phone, I'm able like a SIM-free phone. I'm able to change it as long as it's on the same sort network. And if I couldn't have done it,
okay,
I would.
But who's in? But see, Aaron, I'm asking you a question. Who's in control of that to make them SIM-free?
Like I don't know. Like all I'm saying is when
you tell us, Joe. Who's in control?
All I'm saying, when I had an issue, I used to bring it into a dodgy shop in town and 20 quid, and I get it unlocked.
Okay, can they unlock the phones? Can they unlock the phones now to make them SIM free and do all the dodgy stuff on it with the iPhone?
Will you tell us, Joe? Can they?
No, they can't, because Apple made it more and more secure as they were going along with the firmware upgrade.
Yeah, but that's if you have an iPhone.
Yeah, now. Yeah, but at the same time, Apple are responsible for unlocking a phone when it's on a SIM contract, and when the SIM is finished, they have to get in contact with Apple to unlock the phone. The same way as Apple can actually implement stuff that they go in and show ID, and the phone will be registered to that person.
Yeah, fair enough. I know, but that's if you have an iPhone, though, surely.
Yeah.
Like if you buy another phone, like what's it, the Huawei or whatever the hell it's called.
They can all do the same. They can all do it. It can all be done with the IMEI number and have it down, because the IMEI number is specifically to that phone.
So why is it not being done then?
Because the companies are making too much money with the younger people being able to buy them and being able to access this.
Right.
And there's too much profit to be made in it to lock them down that tight. They should be doing this because at the end of the day, they have terms and conditions on it, which allows the kids to override it. But you can actually lock them down if they want it and show identification to unlock it. Technically, the companies that have these phones are responsible as well as the parents.
Right, but there's just not the will there to do it because they're blinded by money.
There's too much profit to be made on it, and that's why there's $billion. That's why Apple is one of the biggest company ever to do it.
All right, listen, thank you for that, Joe, Tina, Aaron and everyone else on that. I mean, look, to finish off on Aaron there, you know, he doesn't paint a pretty picture, paints a pretty realistic picture, but it doesn't look good, does it? Like, as Aaron said, there's always ways and means around it. And of course, you can just bring it to one of those dodgy shops, get it unlocked and off you go. I mean, kids will always find a way around it. Like, again, you're supposed to be 18 to drink in this country. How many people out there listening to this had their first drink at 18? Not many. Many were drinking before that. Maybe not all the time, but they managed to get their hands an underage drink because someone knew someone, or there was someone standing outside a shop, or there was someone else selling, you know, drink illegally. There's always ways and means around it. If you wanted an underage drink and your will was strong enough to do so, you found a way to do it. Could the same be applied to social media? Probably can. But again, it still probably comes back to parenting. Again, to use the drink thing, if you notice that your child comes in drunk after a night out, well, don't let them out again until, you know, the situation is resolved. Could the same be applied here? If you notice that your child is on social media and they shouldn't be, well, then sort it out. I mean, you know, go to the source, unplug the Wi-Fi at night time. If your child, you know, has to use a bit like Tina there, if your child has to use a tablet or whatever for homework, make sure that they do it in the kitchen when you're in front of them. Don't allow them to take that tablet to their room and then spend the next couple of hours doing God knows what on it. Like, it's simple, practical things here that we're talking about. And again, like, some parents just seem to think that, like, it's an integral part of growing up now, that they should be on social media and they should be on the internet. Newsflash for you, it isn't. And, you know, hundreds of thousands of years of generations before them managed to get, you know, through life without the internet. It's not going to kill them. It really isn't. Honestly, it is not going to kill them if they don't go on social media, if they don't go on the internet. But sadly, it may kill them if they do go on it, and especially if they're getting bullied. And a couple of people some people anyway, texting in agreement over what we were saying about that tragic case up in Donegal a couple of years ago. 2 kids from the same family tragically took their lives over being online bullied, and some people agreed that the question should have been asked there when the second child tragically did take her own life. Only a month or so after the first child, the second child went on social media, she was bullied and she took her own life. You know, you hate kind of sticking the boot in with the parents here, but for God's sake, if that happened, and you wouldn't wish it on anyone, but if that happened in your family and your 13-year-old took her own life after being bullied online, I think you'll agree you would not be allowing a router, a Wi-Fi box, even feckin' Virgin Media, you know, on the TV in your house after that. I'd be locking down the house. I'd be on lockdown. I'd be plugging out every electrical device that's going around, and we'd be going back to the 1950s, because I wouldn't be risking that again. But that wasn't done, and this other sibling of this of the first 13-year-old went back online herself. She was then bullied, and then she took her own life. No one was asking the question why that happened, why that was allowed to happen. And I know it's a bit harsh maybe to ask that question, but I think it's important to ask that question. 53104 for 20 cent. If you are with a provider for your phone, all the information on it is confidential and they can't tell you anything to anyone, someone says on 53104. And finally, parenting with the millennials and later parents is practically non-existent. They want to be friends first and rely on Childline or social services and the nanny state to bail them out of trouble. No wonder the suicide self-harm rate in young people is escalating. Most kids are on God knows what sites while banished to their bedrooms. Phone companies, banks, etc. are creaming it on adult sites accessed by children. So if you just heard me read out that text there, that's what your children are getting up to on the internet. And it's not good enough to know, well, look, I don't know much about it. We'll get to know about it, because it's 2018. That's the way of the world now. And again, you wouldn't allow your child to go to a location in town, possibly a nightclub, or where a situation where there's other children that you don't know about, there's possibly adults there, you have no clue when they're going to be home, you've no way of contacting them. You wouldn't allow that, would you? No, it would be bonkers. It'd be shit parenting. So why would you allow them on the internet to talk to strangers and access dangerous websites that they shouldn't be accessing at the age of 9? It's stupid, idiotic parenting. And if your 9-year-old is on social media, whether you control it or not, I think you're a bad parent. Honestly. It doesn't matter if you control it and you monitor it, blah, blah, blah. All you're doing is just giving them a taste of social media, and they're eventually going to go behind your back and do it. There is no reason for a 9-year-old to be on social media. 23% of 9-year-olds in this country are, and there's no reason for it. And in my opinion, I think it's shit parenting.
FM104 Phone Show
with Keith Ward. It's controversial. It's different radio for 2018.
FM104.
You're very welcome back. Coming up in a couple of minutes' time, some of the papers you're going to be waking up to. But we received texts in for the past week asking us to replay the interview that I did with author Dick Lair, who wrote extensively on Whitey Bulger, the gangster from Boston who died last week in prison. He was murdered in prison at the age of 89, and he had quite a life and was responsible for a horrific amount of murders. I started off by asking Dick Lair, would it be safe to say that Whitey Bulger was the most prolific gangster at his time in America?
Absolutely. I think you could say from the late 1970s into the early 1990s, he was the most powerful gangster in the New England region.
And the area that he was from himself, Southie, would have been very much a working class area, would have very much been an Irish area. It was a very tough area, I assume.
It was back then. It's a completely different neighborhood today as a result of waterfront development and young people, and it's an easy walk to the financial district. So there's been a lot of condos and conversions. So there are still pockets of Old Southie, but it's a much different place today.
So he it seemed, I was watching some documentaries on it there a couple of weeks ago, and I was watching some of the interviews last night with some of his how to put it, former associates. But he very much ruled with fear in that area through kind of extortion, through murder.
Right. He was a killer. And he had a reputation that he even somehow enjoyed killing, and he had the reputation that he wouldn't think twice about killing you if you crossed him. So, that's a powerful dynamic going on for a crime boss.
It seemed to me that he very much nearly enjoyed what he did. Like you described him as a psychopath. So this wasn't just necessarily a mob boss kind of fueled by greed. This was obviously kind of something that he lived for in some ways.
Yeah, I mean, in a perverse way, he found his calling, and he was a supreme narcissist. Everything was revolved around Whitey, and he manipulated and exploited the values of loyalty to Ireland and loyalties to South Boston. He manipulated those, so he talked the talk, but it truly was all about him. Loyalty extended only to the point where if you were loyal to him, fine. If you crossed him in any way, you weren't. It was a cult of personality. It's not an organization in which he cultivated a successor in any way. No, it was Whitey centric.
And it's very ironic as well, because from watching stuff on him, he very much despised people who weren't loyal, and he very much despised quote unquote rats. But yet then we find out for years he was also an FBI informant. So it's very ironic.
Oh, absolutely. That's the dark twist that was unimaginable when that explosive truth was exposed. And frankly, I was part of the spotlight team at the Boston Globe that in the late 1980s made the first cut at that, revealing for the first time that Whitey and the FBI had a special relationship. And at the time, it went against everything that was known about Whitey and his reputation that proved to be false and mythical. So that to the point where many people found it hard to believe, but it was true. All through the years following his capture, he continued up until the end to deny he ever was an informant. But that was just his own mind playing games with himself with wordplay to try to rationalize a rationale as a business strategy move and all that, because he had corrupted the FBI masterfully so that they protected him, and they were giving him information. They were his informants, but that doesn't mean he wasn't also an informant. So it's a lot of sort of mental gymnastics that he would undertake to try to refute or justify the fact that he was a rat.
What was the reaction at the time, Dick, to the deal that the FBI did with Whitey? Was it very much kind of seen as a necessary evil to get a conviction against other people, or were people in some ways a bit pissed off that he was in cahoots with the FBI and the FBI were so ready to give him a deal?
Are you talking about when he became an informant, or?
Yeah, when he became an informant, and the FBI obviously cut him a deal because he spent quite a large proportion of his life out of prison. Was that because he cut a deal with the FBI?
Yeah, I mean, it was a perverse, dark, and corrupted version of the informant relationship. I mean, obviously, police use informants all the time, but there are supposed to be ground rules when it's the police who are in charge, and whatever protection or favors are done for an informant, it's supposed to be low level, non-violent. But very quickly here. Whitey was able to turn the tables and corrupt a band of FBI agents so that they were, in effect, part of his gang, tipping him off. I mean, going way beyond the pale, tipping him off to other investigations, giving him the names of others in the underworld who were informing against him, men who ended up dead shortly thereafter. I mean, it's astonishing in the depth of the corruption and wrongdoing.
When it was revealed that Whitey Bulger had been cooperating with the FBI and had kind of really helped to bring down so many people and secure so many convictions, was that pretty much the end then of the Winter Hill gang? There was no successors after that. Did the gang and the criminal activity basically go down with the whole lot?
Not initially. Like I said, the first awareness or disclosure came from journalism, from the press, from the Boston Globe in the late 80s. But those in charge, meaning the authorities, the police and the prosecutors, those at the center, I mean, they were part of the problem. So it took a number of years until almost you turn a page of history into the mid to late 1980s before almost a new generation of prosecutors and even some FBI agents, but others in law enforcement, not only went after Bulger for all his criminal activities, where he'd previously been almost untouchable, but they went after the FBI agents, and that took time, and that began, and that's when Whitey fled. I mean, your listeners, I'm sure will know that he was tipped off to his indictment that finally came down in 1995, and spent the next 14 years on the run. But it was during those years, because there was no real organization. It was a cult of personality. His organization kind of dissolved, and once some of his key enforcers and partners realized that Whitey truly had been a rat, they decided there's no reason not to rat against him and cut the best deal they could, and they became government witnesses.
So he was on the run for 14 years, mainly living in California with his girlfriend. One of the contradictions which I found funny about the character of Whitey Bulger is apparently himself and his girlfriend were massive animal lovers. They loved animals, which is kind of nearly goes against the narrative of what you think of the person that Whitey Bulger is. It's almost nearly comedic in some ways in comparison.
Yeah, and again, the point that it was a stray cat, that was his undoing. Yeah, he was living. He's in his 80s. He was in his 80s in 2011. He was living with his girlfriend the sort of quiet life of a retiree on the coast of California. But he had, they had befriended a seasonal tourist from Iceland, and they had shared an interest in a neighborhood stray cat. And this woman in Iceland, in the spring of 2011, when there was national, the FBI Most Wanted and National Public Service announcements posted their pictures and whatnot, this woman in Iceland was watching CNN and recognized the girlfriend. And that quickly led to their capture within a few days.
It's fascinating. Finally, Dick, what was your personal reaction to the news the other day that Whitey Bulger was actually murdered in prison at the age of 89? Obviously, you covered him extensively through the years. Was there a bit of shock there? Was there any sympathy there? Where's your head at when you heard that news?
Well, he was just turned 89, and I just assumed at this point, I was surprised he hadn't just died of old age and died of, the fact that he was now confined. Yeah. He just hadn't petered out by now. So the fact that, someone got to him in prison, was quite a shock, and it just made me think that, he had lived violently, and he seems to have died violently, and it was kind of marked the full circle of a truly terrible life.
I agree. There seemed to be some poetic justice, really, in the end for Whitey Bulger. Dick, your book is called Black Mass, which I know has been made into a film now as well, featuring Johnny Depp. So if people want to get it there, they can. Listen, thank you so much for talking to me, Dick.
You're welcome.
The FM104 Phone Show
with Keith Ward. It's controversial. It's different radio for 2018.
FM104.
Someone just texted in on 5204. I'm on the lam this last 30 years. Don't know what that means. Whitey Bulger was a pawn in the game of wits with a lot of clever mafia heads. Right? I don't know what you're on the lam. What does that mean? Maybe text back in 5204. Maybe it's some gangster terminology that I'm not aware about. Brendan in Swords texts in reaction to what I was saying there just a couple of minutes ago, talking about online bullying and talking about parents giving access to their children, having access to social media, especially at 9 years of age, was what we were talking about. This is what Brendan said. You have just blamed parents who lost 2 kids to suicide for the second child's death. Unbelievable. What qualification, apart from a big mouth, do you have to do such a thing? Do you actually know anything about suicide and copycat elements involved? Says Brendan says, shut up and educate yourself. Thank you, Brendan, for that. I do know quite a lot about suicide and mental health, and I've given talks about it. Brendan, I never once, if you listen back to it, maybe you're hearing what you want to hear, I never once blamed the parents for the deaths of their 2 children. What I did say is that I think the question should have been asked after the death of their first child through online bullying. The question should be asked whether they allowed their second child to go back on the internet and be bullied herself again with the second child. I think that's a very valid question to ask. Does that mean I'm blaming them for the death of their 2 children? Certainly doesn't, and I certainly didn't say that. But again, people hear what they want to hear. But I think there's no harm in asking a question of why a child, the second child, was allowed back onto the internet again, only a month after the first child had taken her own life through online bullying. The second child was then bullied again a second time. She was taunted of the death of her sibling a month later. I'm just saying, if it was in my house, I'd be plugging out all access to the internet and I'd be going back to the 1950s where people just read books. I think that's a very valid question to ask, but certainly doesn't mean that the parents were responsible for the death of their child. But I think questions still needed to be asked there. But of course I do understand the copycat element with any suicide, and I'm not putting that to one side either. I'm sure there was an element of that involved also, and there was also a lot of heartbreak, I'm sure, and depression that came with the trauma of the death of the first sister. But again, I would ask why the second child was allowed back on social media to be bullied again like the first child. I think that's a very standard question to ask, to be honest with you, and it was a question that wasn't asked at the time. What we got here, some of the papers are going to be waking up to. Let me see. Irish Mirror says tragic stab victim David Boland was most loving and generous father. Few en masse. Let me just click into this, get a bit more info. His sisters promised to look out for his son. So the heartbroken sister of tragic dad David Boland described him as the most loving and generous son, brother and father at his funeral. David was fatally stabbed in the early hours of Thursday in Athy in County Kildare, basically after a Halloween party. So it's quite sad there. I want to bring this up because this video was actually sent in to us about a week ago, but it was one of those videos that we kind of just thought this is better off just being passed to the guards rather than us bringing it up. So it says here, social media star posts video showing him drinking from booze bottles while recklessly driving around Dublin. So I've seen the video myself. As I said, it got sent to us, and essentially what it is now, I didn't know he was a quote unquote social media star, whatever that is. Essentially he's driving around Dublin, kind of in the day/evening, drinking while driving and drinking whiskey while driving, and kind of on Facebook Live at the same time, and having a great bit of crack. Well, he certainly thinks he is, and a lot of comments on that page. Some people think it's gas, some people saying he should be reported to the Gardaí. So this guy, he's a Romanian national. He has a name that I'm not going to even attempt to pronounce, but he's been posting over to 60,000 followers, many of whom have blasted the reckless stunts, calling him an idiot. The vlogger regularly goes live on Facebook and previously been written about in Romania after making a video threatening to set his Mercedes on fire if he got 40,000 shares. So I think we can all unanimously agree this man is an idiot, and no doubt the Gardaí are investigating what the situation is there, but it just beggars belief that the extent that people go to just to kind of get famous, basically, just on the back of a social media post. Like, I mean, this man should be arrested, but yes, he's getting likes and shares, and that's all he cares about. Like, he would rather go to prison than, you know, and be happy with the social media likes he gets. I mean, that's the type of thing that we're up against today. It's bloody bonkers. But anyway, some of the other stories, and this is sad to see as well. Former Mrs. Brown's Boys star Rory Cowan makes emotional funeral speech in memory of his mother, Esther. I didn't know she died. You would have heard Rory Cowan talk about his mother in the past, and her suffering with Alzheimer's, I believe. So quite sad news. What else we got here? News on the shooting in California yesterday. Ian David Long, first picture of suspected gunman behind California shooting. So he's an ex-Marine, and if you've seen any of it, usually I switch off when I hear about these shootings now. I just can't bear them. It just angers me so much because nothing ever changes. But I did tune in a little bit for this one. I was watching stuff on CNN earlier on, and they were doing an interview with one of the dads of one of the suspected victims, because they don't know yet. And one of the dads was outside the hospital, and he revealed that he had some kind of app to track his son's movements, and he revealed live on air that the phone was telling him that it hadn't moved from the nightclub whatsoever, hadn't moved one bit, which would suggest to you that unfortunately it looks like his son was a fatal victim. So it's tragic, and it angers you so much because nothing ever changes, you know. But Donald Trump, of course, will say, oh look, thoughts and condolences and prayers are with the families, yada yada yada, and yet next week I'm sure the same thing will happen again. It's just bloody ridiculous. Front page, Irish Sun. Stab probe. Family of Irish granddad killed in South Africa trying to deal with tragic loss. A former primary school principal, John Curran's body was found in a pool of blood on the floor of a Cape Town apartment where he'd been living for a number of months, says there. And I believe the family are receiving consulate support, as you'd imagine. What else have we got? Ice Baby. Brian McFadden reveals who his partner will be for Dancing on Ice 2019. Is this the Irish Dancing on Ice? No, that was Dance with the Stars, isn't it? Or as Louis Wald said, Dancing with the Staff. Right, fair play to Brian McFadden. He's managed to get himself in the news, I suppose. Do we care who his partner is? Probably not. Trenchcoat killer, 12 dead and 10 hurt as ex-Marine machine gunner with post-traumatic stress disorder storms bar. It's interesting as well that given the fact that he's white and he's an ex-Marine, they call it post-traumatic stress, which, look, I'm not doubting that he didn't have it, but when it's someone of colour, then it's kind of a suspected terrorist attack, is the narrative that usually comes out there, to be honest. Journal.ie goes into the California bar shooter as well, says he suffered from PTSD. In April, the authorities were called after Long was somewhat irate and acting a little irrationally at his home. It'd be interesting to see. Do you remember after the Miami shooting where I think 17 kids were shot dead? I was actually in Miami at the time, and it was bizarre because you would imagine, like, if that happened in Dublin, the whole city would be in lockdown and everyone would be walking around traumatised, even if you didn't know the kids. But in Miami, I'm not saying, by the way, that people in Miami weren't shocked and didn't mourn the deaths, but it was still business as usual. It was Valentine's Day, and we went out to a restaurant that night, and people were still out in their droves, still celebrating, having a laugh. You know, it really is business as usual in America when these things happen. But what came out of that as well was a campaign by the students of that school where they lobbied a lot of senators, a lot of politicians in the States, and basically said, look, we're not at voting age yet, but if you're receiving campaign money from gun lobbies, we will not be voting for you by the time we turn 18. So that was a warning to politicians. So maybe that's the only way it's going to be done, that guns are either curtailed or banned in that country, is if politicians think that they're not going to get elected over receiving gun lobby money. That's maybe the only way it's going to change, but it'd be interesting to see if that has any effect or if the movement has died down. 16-year-old girl missing from Swords found safe and well. Bit of an update there because people sending us in that info earlier on. I'm not going to mention that person's name out of respect. And what else have we got here? Journal.ie. Man arrested over photos of group in KKK hoods and costumes in County Down. 2 men have been released on bail. Who are these idiots? Police in County Down arrested 2 men this morning in connection with a group of men wearing Ku Klux Klan costumes in Newton Ards. Images of the men in the attire were shared on social media in the week before Halloween and also showed them carrying a number of wooden crosses and wearing hoods. The men were reportedly seen outside the Islamic Prayer Centre and inside at least one bar, and I can see the picture here in front of me. There's at least 10 of them out on the streets. I don't know if it's a prank or they genuinely thought it was funny. I haven't a clue, but look, you just can't get away with that sort of thing in today's day and age. I mean, it harks back to the topic that we did was it last night or maybe it was the night before, on the Grenfell Tower thing of the effigy of the Grenfell Tower being burned down over a bonfire, and quite crude drawings of people hanging out of windows. Those 6 people responsible have been arrested, and we asked the question that even though it's in bad taste, even though it's a sick joke, should they be arrested for it? Like, did an actual crime take place? Most of our listeners agreed that it did, and they should be arrested. So there you go. Stoke Boss says McLean has received death threats and stuff and posts for poppy stands. We can't condone certain parts of those actions, said Gary Rowett, but we can understand some because the abuse is pretty bad, they said there. I'm just throwing it out there. Given the fact that technically James McLean is an employee really of the FA, really, isn't he? Like, I know he's an employee of Stoke, but the FA's over Stoke, the Football Association. If I was James McLean, and I'm sure he's thought of this, I'm sure he has enough money to hire people to think of these things, I'd be suing the FA, to be honest with you, for failing to protect my welfare or whatever. Because if you saw the abuse that he got last week, and I know Cormac was talking about this during the week when I was off, it's disgusting. And if that was a black player or a Muslim player or you name it, everyone would be up in arms, and the FA couldn't come out quick enough to condemn the action. Suddenly when it's an Irish Catholic, and this is more so what James McLean was saying, he thinks he's been victimised because he's an Irish Catholic and because of his stance not to wear the poppy. I'd be taking the FA to court for dealing with that sort of abuse, for not wearing a feckin' flower. I know the flower commemorates, quite a significant thing, and I'm reading a book at the moment on World War I, but the guy comes from Derry, where a large number of people were murdered, unarmed, were murdered in his town. What do you expect him to do? Seriously, cop the hell on. Yet every other Brit who hasn't a clue about half their history will spend 50 pence every year on a poppy and then don't bother about it, thinking about it for the rest of the year. And they think they're entitled to abuse this guy for his stance for some very valid reasons, or at least valid in James McLean's mind. But anyway, yet another example of just mob rule, and ironically kind of nearly fascist rule, which is the very thing that British soldiers in World War I and II were fighting against. It's ironic to say the least. But anyway, there you go. That is some of the news that you're going to be waking up to tomorrow. We'll be back tomorrow night at the later time for a Friday night at 10 o'clock. So coming up on the show tomorrow night is the layback version of the FM104 phone show, where we'll be doing Room 104, where myself and Cormac nominate either something, a thing or a company or something that's pissed us off this week that we want to shred and never mention again on the show. So if you want to get those nominations in, 53104 for 20 cents. Coming up after the break, more phone show.